maybe not only you guys, you knew you've been playing well, but like some of that weight had been lifted because they were the big bad wolf for so long?
Yeah, I think those 2 weeks, I mean, we had the Texas week, and then before that we had, of course, the week that became bowl eligible. I mean, I think those weeks were absolutely some of the best weeks of my life. And I remember the Texas game like it was yesterday. And I think that,
Touchdown catch over the shoulder. Here we go. Oh, they're going to have a big fight. There goes Owens. Puts it down. And George Teague levels it. There it goes. And now Teague is aimed at by an offensive lineman. Flozell Adams pulls Teague away. And Owens is waved to the bench. And he stands in the middle of the star and holds the ball out.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Third down as Baylor crowds the line. Hurts has time, though. Steps up. It's a long throw into traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Braylon Arnold. Arnold down the sidelines. Can he beat Hurts? No, the quarterback gets off the block and forces him out, but it's a second Jalen Hurts turnover, and Baylor in business again.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
On a third down, pressure coming. They're going to set up the screen. It's a low throw. What a catch by Elliott. First down. Touchdown.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Well, you just heard some of the highlights of what will be some of the highlights of our show today. Breaking news in college football. We'll have that for you in a moment. But George Teague, former Cowboys safety, former Cowboys cornerback and safety Cornell Green, who is someone that the Cowboys, there should be more consideration about him in the Ring of Honor. We'll have Mickey Spagnola. We'll have Max Olson, Lexington High football coach Kirk Mull, and also Hall of Fame defensive end Jack Youngblood. All of that today. But we start, Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoke. Thanks to Amelia Myers and Deontay Epps, Colt Barber, all behind the scenes and doing what they do. The Big Ten is about to announce or will announce they will not play any non-conference games. It will be conference games only. The Ivy League yesterday, no season till the spring. No, not even a season. So, guys, this is the next step. Ivy League does their thing. The Big Ten today, at least they're going to say there's a season. At least we think there will be.
Well, it's the first shot. I mean, it's going to make everybody nervous when you start canceling games anyway, but this also gives them more time to get a season started. If you're going to play non-conference games, that leaves you only a month to get ready, so this gives them more of a cushion to get a season started.
Yeah, and I think some will probably attribute the Ivy League's decision yesterday as being the first domino. I don't really look at it that way. I don't think the Big Ten saw the Ivy League's announcement and said, man, we better say something and better react to this. I think that they probably were thinking about this for a while. I don't know why today they decided to announce it and not wait a couple of more weeks, but I guess they're just already in their minds so sure they're not going to do it that they've decided just to not do it. And so now we know that's going to affect a lot of big matchups. It's going to affect a lot of schools. There's going to be a lot of schools now, and I know some were already prepared for this thought, but if you're one of these small schools that's going to make $500,000 off of going up to play like Michigan or somebody, then you're totally screwed now because that's how you're operating your athletic department. You're making a ton more money playing some of these non-conference games than you're getting from any of your other programs. So Yeah, the effects are going to be widely felt like they have been all along. And, the Big Ten is, in my opinion, the real first domino. I don't really care what the Ivy League did.
Yeah, Ball State, Bowling Green, BYU, Central Michigan, UConn, and Northern Illinois all lose 2 games.
By the way, ACC was had made the decision they would not do anything with fall sports until after September 1st. Well, that's when most of it starts. Also, this is from Sean O'Connell, Real O Sports on Twitter, OC Sports. The Pac-12, he says, will announce conference games only. Football schedule shortly after the Big Ten announces the same, which means Oregon and Ohio State, Washington, Michigan are games, non-conference games that are lost. And then you start wondering, you're right, it does give you a buffer period of time. There are going to be some that think, wait a minute, why are you having to do that now? Well, we're talking about less than 2 months when the season is supposed to begin. In fact, in some cases, 7 weeks from now. Baylor has, for the first time in forever, I've mentioned this, a really nice, salty non-conference schedule with Ole Miss, the University of Louisiana Tech, as a part of their schedule. And golly, I mean, I was looking forward to just seeing how they would do that. And I don't know. That does not mean the Big 12 will do this. That does not mean the SEC will do this. I don't know what it means for the others, but it's obviously something that is different than what if. The Big Ten's making their announcement. The Pac-12 will follow suit. And then you wonder, obviously, Mac Rowe just said it very likely he doesn't see the scenario of them playing in the spring. However, there are some that feel like that might be the case. If I knew now, hey, we're going to play conference games only, we're going to start like in mid-September, because Baylor has an early conference game, do they not, this year against Kansas, like the second or third, fourth week? Fourth week, it'd be earlier than that. So, and the Big Ten has a huge footprint in college football power structure. Not the 5 Power 5 conferences are all big boys, but the Big Ten is it's a big conference, and it has a huge impact in college.
Well, it's got a history on its side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been around longer than just about anybody. They've got 14 teams. I mean, there's a lot of teams involved there, and it's up in the northern part of the country. They're kind of like the exclusive home of really football in the north, if you think about it. So yeah, they've got a wide imprint. They got a lot of alumni, and they're sitting there with a pretty big chunk of power. So this will certainly be, if there is a domino, it wasn't the Ivy League. Again, I'll reiterate that. It was this, though. This was a domino. Yeah. The Big Ten announcing this, that's the first domino to me. And yeah, I'm sure if the Pac-12's already come out, I mean, I don't think that's coincidental timing. That they all of a sudden are going to announce the same thing. So I'm sure the Big 12 will be after, once the SEC does it, then that's like really the nail in the coffin. And so who knows how long until they decide to announce that as well. But yeah, I mean, can't say it's a surprise. Can't say it's disappointing, but can't say it's a surprise, again, because of just where we are. And just makes you wonder, okay, well, if in a month from now nothing's changed again, and we can start calling off the second month of the season. And I know a lot of people are already of the belief there won't be a season at all. I'm still holding out hope, not naively or anything, and just, hey, I'm not going to say that there's no chance that there will be any games not played this year. So I'll hold out hope there are some. But
and it's not just football. It's also the Big Ten and women's and men's cross country, field hockey, women's soccer, men's soccer, women's volleyball.
Well, have fun sorting that out, NCAA.
Yeah. Now, this is the way I look at it, and I think there's almost, and I understand why, but I almost think there's almost so much focus on who wins the national championship that sometimes we lose perspective of enjoying the season along the way. It's like if you have a bad performance early, you're done. And that's not always been the case. Ohio State has proven that. But, you have a loss early, you're done. Like we always immediately, you're over here. And some of the Blue Bloods can lose early, and we know it doesn't matter because they're going to, if they get back and run the. So let's just say, this hypothetical. We know the Big Ten is going to play conference games only. So how many conference games do they play? 9, 10, 8?
I think they play 8.
Because the Big 12 is the only conference because of the numbers of they play the only one that plays everybody within your conference. Yeah. So let's say they play the Big Ten. I don't know. I have to look up last year, but I want to say they play 8 or 9, 10 games. Okay. Yeah. So no conference game, no non-conference game. So there's not going to be that 11th or that 12th or whatever other games, right?
Yeah.
So let's say let's say the SEC says, screw you guys, we're all playing. We're going to still play our games against UT Chattanooga, and we're going to play Benedictine. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have that late season non-conference game, but they're going to play each other, and we're going to go play. Ole Miss is going to play Baylor. Now, the SEC can say that. It doesn't mean the Big 12 has to agree.
Yeah,
that's where we're going to start. So let's say 2 conferences among the Power 5 or 3 say we're playing conference games only, and let's say the Big 12 and the SEC go, we're playing all of our games.
Well, I guess that's more data points. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. But, yeah, then it creates more controversy when it comes down to the CFP and all that, blah,
so let's
blah,
say
blah.
you play 13 games, 12. Let's say you play 12 games, including non-conference, 9 conference games and 3 others. And you go, again, you're 11-1, but you lost a game early. And the other guys go 9-0. I'm just, it's something nice to at least discuss rather than what ifs.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, that is a
what
if. You know what I mean about whether we're going to play the game.
Yeah. Okay. Or do you say we're only going to play conference games only, and so you lose those other ones? Do you just go ahead and say, okay, instead of playing, since we're going to just keep it in our conference and keep it close, well, if Michigan and, I'm sure they play because they're in the same, but they're the first 2 teams that came to mind. Michigan and Purdue weren't going to play this year. Do you now just plug them in a week and play that so in case the other ones decide to play 12? Or do you do a 12-game conference schedule?
I don't know
so
if
you
you could
cut
put
down
that.
on travel,
I don't know
yeah.
if you could put that together fast enough.
Yeah, they're still going to have to move some days around anyway. So, yeah, I don't know if you could either, but
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of things you can do. We do know this, for example. I'm going straight to the Big Ten Conference. Here we go.
The SEC plays 8.
They play. So, Big Ten plays 9. The SEC plays how many?
They play 8.
Okay.
So, even if you play conference games, so Baylor's going to play 9 games and LSU's going to play 8?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This is going to be a mess to sort through. I would imagine that most other conferences are going to follow suit.
The Pac-12 plays 9. The Big Ten plays 9. The Big 12 plays 9. And the ACC plays 8. And the SEC plays 8. So 2 of the Power 5 conferences have 8 conference games.
And I think the ACC was just about, I think they're going to go to 9 in a couple of years. But once their schedule rounded out to where they all could. But even, yeah. 8 and 9 games. So is somebody are you going to add at least one more to even it out? Because you could do that now and you've got 3 weeks to play with.
Well, and what happens if the Big 12 and the SEC say, we're playing? And so they're going to have 3 extra games that they have to play. And to your point, are they going to get penalized for having a loss early on versus somebody? Or
do you get penalized because you did?
Like LSU and Texas is a huge game.
Ohio State, TCU.
TCU and Ohio State's a big game. Now you're going to lose a couple of those games, Ohio State, Oregon. Otherwise, Ohio State's playing Bowling Green and Buffalo. Okay? Yeah. Now, so if LSU plays Texas and LSU wins 30-27, is that, how does that count towards later in the year if they have, again, 12 games or 11? Let's say one game gets canceled because of just suspended or whatever. It's fun to think about because at least we're discussing that they might be playing games.
How about this? Who does Notre Dame play?
No, I saw the note. ACC, they've got 6 games against the ACC, and the ACC has said that they would buffer Notre Dame into the mix of conference games.
Well, Notre Dame is part of their conference in every other sport.
But they would add them.
But if they left them out to dry in football, that would create.
They're not going to.
Yeah,
they've said they would figure it out. This is coming. The ACC then would plug Notre Dame in somewhere. But, okay, where are you going to plug them in? Because everyone else is going to play 8 games. So now is someone going to play 9? Because Notre Dame's got 6. Everyone else is scheduled to play 8 ACC games.
Yeah, the Big Ten's released their official statement. Gosh, I'm so tired of it. We are facing uncertain and unprecedented times. I'm so tired of hearing that. To that end, the Big Ten announced today if the conference is able to participate in fall sports based on medical advice, it will move to conference only, which is what we already know. The decision was made following many thoughtful conversations over several months between the Big Ten Council presidents, chancellors, ADs, etc. Summer athletic activities will continue to be voluntary and all sports currently permitted to engage in such activities. Why, though? If you're not going to be playing that first month, then why are they even on campus?
Why not? Yeah. So who's next? The Pac-12?
Yeah. Okay. And so the Pac-12,
the weakest of the Power Five,
that affects Notre Dame a little bit more than the Big Ten would because because of USC
Stanford.
and Stanford. Those two games are on their schedule. The ACC obviously they're buffered, but Notre Dame stands to lose right now. I doubt they wouldn't. I mean, they'd play Navy. I think that one would probably stick. But Western Michigan, who knows if they play that one? Arkansas, Wisconsin, Stanford, and USC would be.
What is this? Buffalo and Bowling Green just lost a few $100,000.
Yeah, and they lose their guarantee game.
There's some team that's probably lost $1 million legitimately. It's like some smaller school that knows they're going to get beat 65-0 by going to Columbus or something like that.
Or there's some teams that get paid and then go beat Nebraska and Lincoln.
Yeah, just wait. One of the effects. Just wait until we see the effects of some of these smaller schools not getting those payouts. That's going to not necessarily cancel programs, but it's going to affect some of them in a major, major way because you were accounting for, I'm sure, although maybe you've had enough time now to kind of go, maybe we shouldn't rely on this $1 million we're getting to go play Oregon. And you've already, counted that in, but at the same time, that's a lot of money to be missing out on for some of these smaller schools that don't have a lot of alumni and big boosters and things like that. That's going to be really tough. So, yeah, the ACC is pretty much official. Now the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. So there's 3 of the 5. And so Big 12 and SEC are the only 2 now that have not made an announcement, but I'm sure that'll happen in the next 24 hours because why wouldn't it? If everybody else is already calling it, then –
Well, part of me also thinks that these conference commissioners have spoken to one another.
I would think so,
I mean, it's not like the Big Ten would just go ahead and do this – and just see what happens. They might have been the ones who, as a conference, were more ready to announce what their schedule would be, and maybe all their ADs have called their non-cons and said, "Hey, this is what's going to happen," and that's why they're ready to do it. And nobody else is. So
254-339-1122. Your feedback on the text line brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. 254-339-1122. If you want to jump in and let us know we're kind of throwing out some scenarios for you. Some scenarios about the Big Ten conference only. The Pac-12 will be next, and then what happens after that. How it affects the schools that are the division or the non-Power 5, group of 5s, and below that.
Yeah. So 10-game conferences from Matt in D.C., 10-game conference schedule for all Power 5 conference, put in bye weeks for makeup if needed. That could work. What do you think?
Well, you don't have 10 opponents.
Well, you'd have if everybody does 10, you take 10, so like what I was saying earlier, Michigan and Purdue, you weren't playing. Well, now you are.
But if you're the Big 12, who are you playing? There's only 9 other teams.
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to play somebody twice.
Yeah.
And
then maybe 3 times if you play them in the Big 12 title game. So that would
Matt in
not
D.C.,
work.
10-game conference schedule for all Power 5 conferences, put in bye weeks for makeup if needed. That could work. What do you think?
So then why not? So 9. So instead of 10, why not 9?
Yeah, that 9 to me would be the cap.
So then you would say 9 because of the teams that play 8, like the ACC and the SEC. All you'd have to do is say, okay, well, Alabama, guess what? You're playing Vanderbilt this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, take away the Citadel game and play LSU or somebody. That would be easy for the SEC to do. But again, for the Big 12, they are the smallest conference, so everybody else could play 9 or play 10. They can only legitimately play 9. So if others go to 10, then I don't know how that works.
Leon, I need to cancel all non-conference games just to give everyone enough time to get close enough to a vaccine and then time to heal.
I understand that. I totally. But do we even know the status of a vaccine at this point? We have no idea. And so I'll ask the question I've been asking. And Leon, I'm totally with you. I get it. But for all this talk about wait for a vaccine, when is that? Is that by January or February?
Well,
is that by March? Because
the part of me is like, okay, the day after the election.
Yeah, well, probably. But, with that, it's like I get why this is happening, and I get the safety, and I'm totally with that. I think I've been probably the most of the 3 of us, the most on the COVID thing. But you keep pushing it back. Eventually, there's nowhere to push it to.
Yeah.
Eventually, you've just wasted an entire academic and athletics year for every single student athlete because you can't tell me right now that they're going to be ready to go to play baseball in March. You can't tell me anything. No one knows anything. All we know is that we just don't know anything, so we keep canceling everything or pushing it back. what are you going to push it to? If we're in March and there's nothing going on except for this still, which that's what trajectory we're on because we are, and it's still the same, then just no sports all year. I mean, I get that that's a possibility, but I mean, okay, well, have fun with that mess that you're going to create trying to bring back every athlete in college athletics trying to get an extra year all of a sudden. And then those who are not going to play in the spring because they're going to prepare for the NFL draft instead. And there's just so many issues that come with that. And I'm with it, but you can only push it so far.
Yeah, you can. And that's why, I kind of personally subscribe to that. We're going to have to find out a way to live with this thing. So,
Yep.
I mean, not complete avoidance, not complete ignorance.
Not pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
no.
like you have to find a middle ground of let's all go into a bunker and let's pretend like
I really need to go get that drink at the bar.
Yeah, like there's a middle ground. We're very bad in America at middle grounds right now.
Oh, terrible.
We're the worst at it.
There's no middle ground.
We're terrible at it. But that's what we need to find is a middle ground between you can do nothing and you can do everything.
Right.
But that's harder to that's going to be harder to figure. A middle ground will be harder to figure out than a dadgum vaccine. Like they'll take more researchers in a lab than people, shooting stuff into rats and figuring out if it kills this virus.
T-Rex listening to us in Euless. Thanks for the text. 10-game schedule. Give me ISU twice so I can taste their salty tears over and over again. Sick 'em. TJ, Smokey, my man. I think that might have been on the vaccine is discovered or launched the day after the election. All right, now we'll have Jack Youngblood, Hall of Fame defensive lineman. Max Olson covers the hell out of high school, college athletics. He'll join us today at 4. Also today, we'll have Mickey Spagnuolo 4:30. Lexington's Kirk Mule at 4:45. High school football coach on the UL starting workouts again on Monday. Plus today as well, Cornell Green, the great Cornell Green of the Cowboys, will join us today. And George Teague, former Alabama national champion. Cowboys involved in 2 great memorable plays. One, chasing down Lamar Thomas in a championship game and stripping the ball out of his hands. And the second one, of course, pounding T.O. at midfield. Right?
Yeah. The highlight, I'll tell you. So we played the highlight in the open of Brad and Babe describing it, and Babe Laufenberg was having a blast.
Yeah,
but
he always does.
The highlight in the 5 o'clock hour before we get to is him running down Lamar Thomas, and I was not that I'm not that surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised today that we get to play a Keith Jackson highlight.
Love me some
Keith Jackson. Golly, I miss Keith Jackson. He goes back in the days of such what we thought was innocence, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. If you're of the Southern persuasion, this game is 3 whoopies and a hot damn.
Yeah. So I don't know all of what this means. It just seems like at least there is something other than what we think. The Big Ten conference games only, they have a massive amount of footprint in college sport athletics. Somebody
who covers, I guess, Northern Illinois posted this. They said, oh, man, upon learning the Big Ten news, trying to find it again, they said, oh, man, UNI is in big trouble. And the reason why is because they play both Iowa and also Maryland. So those are 2 Big Ten non-conference games that you would think they're going to get pretty nice payouts for, that they will suddenly not be getting anything for. And on top of that, for an athletic department like I was mentioning, those who are kind of reliant on some of those games to operate the way that they would like to, when that money goes away, who ends up ponying up that money that they suddenly need?
A donor, somebody else. I mean, but
how about the taxpayers?
Yeah, exactly.
So
that, say you get $500,000, that might wipe out your expenses or help you break even on expenses for your football operations staff. Or maybe that $500,000 you put towards having, swimming and diving. So that's like one of those things that will go away, like the 11 sports at Stanford that went away.
I don't know. This is from the 678, 3 whoopies and a hot damn.
Yeah.
What's that? No. All right, when we come back, we'll have Jack Youngblood. Oh, there's one other thing that you want to know about. Okay, tell me how this makes sense. So Tom Pelissero, who's tied into the NFL, covers him. NFL teams are going to be forbidden from post-game interactions within 6 feet of each other, and jersey exchanges between players will be prohibited the upcoming season. What do they do all for 60 minutes?
Just touch all over each other.
Tackle, sweat, snot bubbles, right?
Now throw up. I mean, all that. I mean, I'm not trying to be gross, but yeah.
Cuts, bruises, blood.
Every pretty much gross thing that guys can do. Yeah.
They're going to do that for 60 minutes, blood, sweat, and tears, beat each other up for 60 minutes, but then you're not going to allow any jersey exchanges after the game or anything within 6 feet.
Well, everybody knows dapping up's the quickest way to get coronavirus is that post-game handshake. I mean, I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense. There's no good explanation I've seen for it. It just seems like something stupid to say to act like you're making precautions.
You know what that sounds like to me? You can only have a bottle of shampoo that's 4 ounces on the plane.
Yeah.
Well, what if the explosive that I need, I can put 10 little 4-ounce bottles all together?
Yeah.
And then just go to the bathroom and mix it.
Yeah. Jack Youngblood played in a game one time with a broken leg. That's kind of one of his legacies. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, an unbelievable player. He had some knockdown dragouts with the Rams and Cowboys. The Cowboys won most of those. The last one that the Rams won, I think, with Youngblood as a player was when they beat Roger Staubach and company in 1979, although he played through 84. Cornell Green, Mickey Spagnola, Max Olson, Lexington football coach Kirk Mule, and then also George Teague. It's a pretty good mixture for you. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat as they continue their summer clearance event. 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs have 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days, or you can choose up to $10,250 in values. Remaining 2020 Jeep Gladiators get employee pricing plus an additional $1,500 in bonus cash. Many of the Jeep models have 0% financing for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. And all of the business owners, farmers, ranchers out there, Allen Samuels will help you find the standard cab that you're looking for, the chassis cab. Heavy duty, ProMaster trucks. They have multiple locations of dealerships, partnerships all around the country to find what you need for what you need. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, located on Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco. And go by and say hi to Ted Teague. AJ, one of those who listens to us, he sold me the car I'm driving after that 377,000 miles of Tahoe. He's there for you as well, along with the great staff, and they're also making sure everything remains disinfected and clean. And you can go online if that's what you want. Allen Samuels, DCJ.com. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
So again, the stories about college football. The Ivy League yesterday cancels their season. Football, Big Ten now will play conference games only. Expect the domino effect on how that affects the rest of the Power Fives and others. Jack Youngblood. I always think about him. I think about an incredible player with the LA Rams, the Rams for a long time during some great years that they had. I think about him playing in pain like maybe no other. And I also think about the fact that we've seen him on Radio Row at the Super Bowl many, many times, that he was always such a class act. And he joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. Jack, thank you very much. How have the last 3 or 4 months with what's going on, coronavirus, I know you're retired, but you have a ranch and much more. How has that affected what you can do?
Boy, that has slowed me down tremendously. and we're bored to tears. And my wife has got me a list that keeps getting longer.
Uh-oh.
Of things that I have to do around the house. I can't just run away up to the farm. I tried to the other day, and she stopped that. So
I thought she might have had somebody kidnap you and take you to the farm just to get you out of the house. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure she thought about it.
Jack, you stepped into a defensive line, the fearsome foursome that had been going for a while. Was that intimidating as a rookie, and did that kind of help you accelerate your own play, knowing that, to get on the field, you were just going to have to go, completely balls to the wall?
Well, to be absolutely honest with you guys, I was country come to town. I had no idea that I was going to be drafted. My defensive line coach said, you're going to get a chance to go to camp someplace. But I had, the news about the draft every year back then, it was nothing like it is today. And I didn't have any. Yeah, I had one guy come by, one scout come by, and he wanted me to run a 40 and weigh me and watch me do some logistics, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, after the Senior Bowl, I go to the the Gainesville Sun to watch the draft. And I'm thinking as I'm driving there that morning, I'm thinking, I said, this is going to be a very boring morning. I've got to watch all of these first and second and third round draft choices, come off and be picked for the NFL. When I'm sitting there and the phone rings, and they said, Jack, this is the coach for the Los Angeles Rams. He wants to talk to you. And literally, guys, I put my hand over the receiver, and I said, "Who's the coach of the Los Angeles Rams?"
Wow.
I had no idea, guys. None. Yeah,
Wow.
It was a true blessing. It was a godsend, is what it was. There was no question about that.
Jack, it's safe to say, and looking back at when you were drafted, the contracts these days are just a little bit different, aren't they, from what you guys were used to?
What was that word? Little?
Yeah. Probably not a big enough word. You're right.
No. No. It's in a different universe. It's what it is today, and I'm proud of these guys. There's some tremendous athletes that we have in the National Football League at this time, and but the economics were just so totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s than it is today.
You appeared on Radio Row, and you've been on Radio Row many, many times throughout your life as far as when there are Super Bowl weeks. And obviously, eventually, you were named and selected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What was that wait like?
Oh, my goodness. The first couple of years, it was kind of testing. It really was testing because I'd been on the first list, the top 15 for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and after a while, after 5 or 6 years, I said, well, if the good Lord wants me to do it, He'll make that happen. And it took 10 years?
Yeah,
10 years for me to get in.
But if you're a Hall of Famer 5 years after you retire, why would you not be a Hall of Famer? I mean, if you're a Hall of Famer 10 years after you retire, have you ever thought about why you wouldn't be 5 years after you retired?
I couldn't. I never had an answer for that.
Yeah.
The numbers were always there. The number of games, the number of starts, number of sacks, all of that was always there. And I think there were some of the guys that didn't like me. And one of them was, I can't call his name right now, but he was from Minnesota. He was the voter from the sports writer from Minnesota, and he just did not like me. In fact, when I finally got in, got the vote, and did a little interview there that afternoon, and he walked up to me afterwards and said, you don't belong there before the right defensive end for Minnesota at the time.
Carl Eller?
Not Carl. Not Carl.
Alan Page? Yeah.
No, not Alan. Alan was inside. Boys, I've been hitting head too many times.
That was what that's what he said to you, huh?
That's what he said to me. And I had to back up just a little bit and go, don't be ugly, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Wow.
be ugly.
Wow. Jack Youngblood, Pro Football Hall of Famer, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio.
You played on a great line, one of the most dominant of all time, and even guys retired and stepped back up. What was the key to you guys all staying fresh and all not ever dropping off when somebody retired or somebody new came in?
Well, when you when you get to a place and you're on a team of Merlin Olsen, Deacon Jones, Coy Bacon, those kind of players, Marlon McKeever, they were all tremendous football players and tremendous men. And I was very, very fortunate to have those mentors around me for that first couple of years. Deacon got hurt in the 5th or 6th game of the season 71 season, and so I had to step up. I had to step up and and put on some big shoes because I had Deacon's position to uphold, and I also had Merlin Olsen next to me as I was his wingman. I was the rookie, and I was thinking to myself, Merlin may kill me if I screw up.
Right.
So you got to put it all out there.
What were some of the lessons those guys taught you early on?
That there was only one more play. You only had one more play, and you better make the best of that play right now. That was our attitude, and Deacon's his saying was, hey, we stopped the run on the way to the quarterback, and that's how we played it. We played it on their side of the line, and controlled the line of scrimmage by rushing the passer, and if it did start to run the ball, they wanted to run the ball, we'd handle that too.
You're not only known for being a hell of a player and setting numerous records, but your longevity and consistency in not missing games. And yet, it is true, correct, that you played with a broken leg or fractured leg, and you also played in 1979 in that year that the Rams beat the Cowboys in a huge game with a blood clot in your body. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, that's correct too. Yeah, I had a pinched nerve in that left shoulder, and it had a blood clot in the main vein going back to the heart. Yeah, and the doctors thought that was going to end the career, and I looked at him. I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Right.
No, thank you. No, thank you. But, we got through that. And there again, we had the best medical crew in the country and had them my entire career. So I have to give them recognition that they kept me on the field for 201 consecutive ball games.
And that's amazing considering that in this day and age, I mean, of course, safety is different than ever before. I've asked this question. In fact, I asked this to Deacon Jones, and he looked at me. He wanted to stand up and slap me like he would if I had a helmet on. But I didn't mean it as if he couldn't play now, and this was back almost 9 or 10 years ago when the Super Bowl was in Dallas. But I asked him about could he play today, and it wasn't his talent or could he play, but with the way the rules are today, how would that have affected you? You would have gotten used to it, I'm sure, but like what Mel Blount or Jack Tatum or Ronnie Lott, how would that have affected how you play?
Would be broke.
A lot of fines.
What a great answer.
we would finish the year broke.
So in other words, you would not have changed how you played, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. And you got to remember, you got to think about this. We didn't play to hurt somebody. We played to get there in the fastest that you possibly could make, and to have as much energy on a tackle as you possibly can give. So it wasn't about hurting people. It was about winning the game, winning that play.
Paul?
Yeah, I was just thinking about how much money they'd be fined the way the rules are now. You were also a famous trash talker, though, weren't you? Did that start early, or was that just something you pick up along the way?
I wasn't really a trash talker. I tried to make comments that would make them think about something. And if you're thinking about something that you're not, that's not what you want to do, that changes the way you're gonna play that play. Just to take their thought away from it for just a moment. Mine's focused, because I'm doing this on purpose. I'm going. I come around the corner and Jimmy Hart and Deerdorf, and I'm going, Jimmy, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Just to make them think, just a little bit.
That's awesome. Jackie, when you think of the Dallas Cowboys, because that's the closest pro team to us, that's the team that we talk about the most here in Texas, what are some immediate memories that come to mind about the Dallas Cowboys?
Oh, having to go up against Brayfield, day in and day out. Every time I saw him there for a while, it really did. When you play against the best in the business, that brings out the best in you, I believe. It did me, because I knew you can't take a breath off. You got to play it, as hard as you possibly can every play, because they're the best, and you want to be their headache for the day.
Jack, our last question, perhaps here on Sikkim 365, is that you guys beat them in the playoffs. And in fact, that was Roger Staubach's, I believe, his last game. And you guys had played them so many times before, big games. What did that beating them finally mean that particular time?
We finally got over the hump.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. They were our nemesis. Them in Minnesota, and that was in '79, and we beat Dallas, and then we went down to Tampa and shut them out, and that put us in 14, against Pittsburgh. So that was huge, a very huge step for us. It really was.
Thank you for your time and making it available to us, Jack. It's great to hear from you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Jack Youngblood, amazing player at Florida. He's in the Florida High School Hall of Fame, college football, pro football, known for his toughness, and a part of Sikkim 365 Radio. One quick note, Craig. Randy Peterson covers Iowa State for, I think, the paper up in Ames. Had a note. He had a chance to get a comment or two from Bob Bowlesby. Is that correct?
Yeah, he said, Randy Peterson, when asked if the Big 12 planned to announce soon the likelihood of a conference football games only plan, Commissioner Bob Bowlesby responded to me one word, no. So Bowlesby not ready to call for the conference only schedule. The Big 10 has. The Pac-12 has followed suit because, that's not surprising after the Big 10's announcement. Now the ACC is leaning that direction, although they have come out and said, that's not official. It's something that they're discussing. But it looks pretty close to official. But, yeah, as far as the Big 12, and here was Bruce Feldman, actually. I finally got that back in front of me. He said, ACC coaches have been told of a conference-only games plan. As Brett McMurphy reported, I'm told the coaches have not yet been told it's definite. ACC's tentative conference-only football plan, as they've discussed, would extend to include Notre Dame. So that's like 15 teams in the ACC. So, those big conferences can do it. I don't know how it works for the Big 12, but as we just mentioned, Bob Bowlesby is not looking at that idea, or at least not moving towards that idea just yet.
Yeah, and it appears as if right now, if you were to say of the Power 5 conferences, Big 10, Pac-12, ACC, all kind of in that mix and waiting to see what the domino effect, if there is one, on whether it affects the Big 12 or the SEC. And what they should do is what they want to do, not what they are feeling as if there's pressure to do. And who knows? They might follow in suit. That might happen by the end of the day. But Bob Bowlesby telling Randy Peterson, no, at least for now. All right, 3:48. We'll come back with a couple more notes, updated notes, comments from others involving college football as it starts to have this domino effect. At 4 o'clock today, Max Olson covers college football for theathletic.com. We'll have George Teague, Cornell Green, much more. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Petty Clinic, LowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty has more options for you to be the highest performance man that you want to be, and also helping you get discounted comprehensive lab work. How does that work? Contact them, pettycliniclowt.com, or give them a call. They will then get you blood work, at least scheduled. You get your blood work. They'll look at the results. Dr. Petty will look at your testosterone level, and if it needs to be increased, he can put you in a program to help you do that, to become the high-performance man you want to be. But also the blood screening that could also help with the cholesterol or blood pressure monitoring or even diabetes screening, testosterone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, prostate cancer screening, colon cancer screening, pancreatic cancer screening, and even the skin and melanoma screening. Dr. Kent Petty can help you with discounted lab work, get the results, and then if you need it, put you in a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s, from Allen Samuels. Ask for details.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
We're fighting hard at Pickup Outfitters in our battle to end truck nudity. But it's not just about putting an outfit on a naked truck, it's about making sure you have the very best customer service. So we offer the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. Over time, sometimes your outfit needs a little tune-up, maybe some tightening, adjusting, whatever. If you outfitted your truck at Pickup Outfitters, that tune-up is absolutely no charge for the remainder of the time you own that truck. We also offer free warranty assistance. If for any reason you need to use your warranty, you just bring it back to us and we take care of it. It just makes sense. I mean, operating without a promise like that would be like offering customer service in the nude. And if you've seen our staff, trust me, you don't want that. So do your part to end truck nudity by outfitting your truck, Jeep, SUV, or van at Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we promise to serve you fully clothed. Check out our website, createacommotion.com.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Matt in D.C., did Bob Bowlesby just show leadership and not fall in line with the others? Maybe there's hope for the Big 12. And my point is, this football's big in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. It's big everywhere. It's big in a lot of states. But it doesn't mean you can't go conference only because football in the South is a religion. But him saying, when Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register asked him about, are they going to fall in line, and him saying no. You can say no tonight. Tomorrow you can say yes. You can say yes tonight. But maybe, because he's been out there going, guys, all I can tell you is that there is nothing normal. But Mack Rhodes has been saying that too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's also the one who said a while back there was the possibility of the state fair getting canceled, and he got lampooned for that. If you'll remember, back to when those comments were made, and what happened this week, State Fair of Texas was canceled, and he had been talking about the OU Texas game and how the way things were at that point. Whenever he made those comments, how are you going to have a game in the middle of a sea of people like that? And is there even going to be a Fair of Texas? And there's not. So just yet another event that's been canceled, and so we still don't know how they're going to work that out. Like if OU and Texas play, how they're going to do that, because I doubt they would go home and home, because there's the chance that this might be the only season this is like this. So you wouldn't want to be the team on the end of, oh, yeah, we'll go to Austin. You guys come to Norman next year, and then next year everything's back to normal. And Austin, Texas is like, nope, we're playing in Dallas. So, there's things like those neutral site games that have to be figured out. And I know that we had mentioned earlier that one at Wrigley Field's already been canceled. But, yeah, this is a lot to sort through. I think Bowlesby has been pretty matter of fact. He's maybe said some things that people don't like, but, I mean, he was dead on in the State Fair of Texas thing. Another comment that he made that was very interesting, I felt like, and I'm glad he's not just following suit, because if he made an announcement, like the thing that makes me wonder about the Pac-12 is that, did they just have this statement ready to go and they were waiting for somebody else to say it first? Because the timing of them saying it literally less than half an hour after the Big Ten does is a little bit suspicious. And we know there is no leadership in the Pac-12. I mean, they are the most gutless conference at the top of anybody. But, Bowlesby had also made the comment about some of those non-conference games previously, and it said, like, can we ensure that Sam Houston State and SFA and North Texas, are we sure that they're testing the same way that we're testing here at the higher level? Because I bet you they're not. Now, I'm paraphrasing him a bit here, but, now those games have basically been eliminated, and I'm sure they will be in short order by the rest of the schools who haven't already proclaimed that they will eliminate those games. But, yeah, I mean, I think just, using those examples, he's been kind of forward-thinking and has been thinking about things that maybe not everybody else is thinking about. For example, those smaller schools not having the resources to be able to test everybody, and therefore you're putting your players who are getting tested on a regular basis at some sort of risk. And those comments led to some people discussing, and now especially I'm already seeing this start to get drummed up a little bit, of the new era of college football, where it is the Power Fives and maybe a little bit of a shift in the conferences, but it's the Power Fives playing the Power Fives. And hey, you Southland schools and you Sun Belt schools, sorry, but you got to fend for yourselves because you're not part of our club. And I don't know if that's actually the direction that we're headed, but it wouldn't be all that surprising to me either.
No, I mean, things change for a bunch of different reasons. One of Bob Bowlesby's knocks for his whole career has been that he's too smart for his own good. Well, in times like this, intellectuals are, I think that's probably where it's serving him well to be able to look out at all those possibilities. Mm-hmm. I would say that Bowlesby's biggest problem is that he took over a conference that never got along forever and was 12 schools pulling in 12 different directions, with one school really pulling in its own direction. And then he's had to go and kind of balance all that out and try to, after the thing almost completely collapsed. And any time that anything happens, anybody there is so dang gun shy that, he reacts in a less than great way.
Couple of tweets to me. I retweeted what Randy Peterson said about Bowlesby from Ryan Sublett. It's kind of silly. Schools should at least keep the marquee non-conference games. If you can play 10, why can't you play 11 or 12? From Jeremy at BU_Rangers. With Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten already moving that direction, I bet the Big 12 and SEC aren't far behind. Is it now? It's July 9th, and the month is kind of like evaporated. Of course, it seemed like it's been a year, but there's you would normally start. For example, Baylor would start their August workouts like on August 9th. And then they play Ole Miss, expected to play Ole Miss that first Sunday in September.
Well,
they're
set to start here in the next few days.
I know, but I'm talking about the fall workouts. So what I'm saying is it too early to be making these decisions?
I don't know, because I feel like we've kicked the can down the road so many times already where we were saying, hey, it's only April.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only May. Hey, it's only June. We've still got 3 months left. Well, now it's July 9th, and we're literally 6 weeks away from the season.
What I would say is it's not too early to make a decision or too late to make a decision, provided you already have a plan.
Right.
Like, you make a decision without a plan. If they've got a plan, which I believe is what they've all been working on, it's all these, well, what if, which is their whole thing. We've talked to Mac about that. They've gone through all their what if scenarios, and the Big Ten got to theirs and said, well, this is what we're going to do. And so we'll see what happens after that.
All right. It'll be interesting to see how others, if in fact they all make decisions, yes or no, join the parade or join the whoever, or just say, we're not yet ready. And what will be interesting in today's America, if the SEC and the Big 12 say, no, we're not joining that yet, how many people will start wanting to force them to do it? Because that's where we live now, right?
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, Max Olson. You know he's been on the phone with a lot of different people. TheAthletic.com covers college football like a blanket. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the people that you can count on, no doubt about it. Been telling you about all the great deals they've had for some time now, and those great deals continue to roll on at Richard Carr. We know there's a lot of talk right now about COVID, obviously. That's not something that's going away anytime soon, but Richard Carr Motors has not let that stop them. They disinfect the showroom daily, so when you walk through their doors, you feel safe. You know it's clean around you. You know people are washing their hands, wearing their masks, doing all that good stuff, so you can still have a great shopping experience and not have to worry about some of the worries that we have right now. Right now, they've got the Buick Encores, the perfect crossover SUV. Right now, you can get a Buick Encore for only $19,900. That's a saving of $6,000 on a 2020 Buick Encore. And they've also got all those used cars and trucks in stock, over 100 in stock. They got a lot of work to do to still keep moving on these pre-owned vehicles. Over 25 used trucks in stock right now, all at discounted prices. And perhaps you want to look at something with a little bit of luxury, a little bit of style, and a whole lot of power. Well, check out the Cadillac line of SUVs, the Cadillac XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. Right now, you can own a Cadillac XT4 for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. Plus, with your purchase, you get great prices, free oil changes, and in-town priority warranty service every time you buy a car from Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. They are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni. They want the chance to earn your business, so stop by their daily disinfected showroom, as I mentioned, see their safety-focused staff, or if that's still not, reassuring enough to you, well, they can bring the test drive to your home. Your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them at richardcarr.com or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through. And business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Max Olson of The Athletic. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Brewer, throw over the middle, caught, Mims, touchdown. Bears.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Back when we started this show on April 6th, Monday, and it's his 14th week, and back when I contacted Max Olson about being a part of the show, that I knew just randomly that sometime in June or July on a Thursday, that something would happen, right? In college football, I know Max is trying to do his thing, but he's going to join us here with Paul and Craig. I'm David Smoke. Max, this could be the start of something. Your thoughts about, will there be a domino effect or how? Or what? How does this affect the Big 12?
Oh, buddy, what a day. It's interesting. We'd heard whispers about this for a few days, really all week, that the Big Ten was heading in this direction. And we've also, we've heard that the Pac-12 is also heading in this direction of playing conference-only schedules. Curious to see. I think there's been discussions about that in the ACC. Still, I think from the Big 12 and SEC standpoint, seems like they're, I don't want to say slower on this, but they're not there yet. So it's in some ways it's a logical outcome here, because I think as we've seen this stuff progress over the past few months, it's clear that the decision making probably gets handled best at the conference level. And so I think the Big Ten understood that, look, we in trying to keep our options open, if we can just keep it to the Big Ten schools in scheduling games with each other, that makes it a lot easier to negotiate. How do we do this in the fall, or how do we do this in the spring? But the impact is devastating. I think for a lot of programs that have games scheduled against the Big Ten, you got to understand that for Group of 5 and FCS schools that are scheduled those games to go play at Big Ten stadiums in September, they collect $500,000, $600,000 up to $1 million, $2 million to play those games, and those guarantees are absolutely essential for their budgets for their athletic department. So when you rip that out of the budget at a time when everyone is struggling, it's the the impact and the ripple effect here is going to be felt throughout college football at every level, and I think it's going to continue here as the Pac-12 and probably other leagues move in that direction.
What I'm curious to find out most, Max, is so say they play only conference games, and they do play in the fall. When it comes to the college football playoff, some teams only play 8 games, some teams play 9. Well, data points have always been a big thing of like, well, this team played 13 games, and this team played 12, and they had this data point and that data point. Do you have to throw that out the window, or do the teams that play 8 conference games, do you tell them, like, okay, take one of those, and, if Bama wasn't going to play Vanderbilt this year, guess what, you are, and that makes it 9.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, too, that non-conference games have a really important piece of that puzzle for the playoff committee. I mean, when you have games like Oregon versus Auburn last year, like those sort of help you assess conferences and help you assess the best teams. And, when you're struggling with that pick for the number 4 team and stuff like that, those sort of league comparison games really matter. So that part of it's tough. And then, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, as we all know, like, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe this reckoning forces some of these conferences to figure out, all right, are we all going to do 8 games, or are we all going to do 9 games? Because that's one of the missing pieces here in the Big Ten's announcement is we don't really know how they're going to go about redoing this schedule. Is the season going to start hypothetically, with the first week of October? How do you sort of reshuffle games to fit that? Because the Big Ten does have some. Like Nebraska's opener is week 1 against Purdue. So you got to find a way to move that to a different spot, I would think. But the scheduling end of this is fascinating, and we have no idea kind of what direction that's going.
Max, do you think there's any reason for smaller schools to be concerned, not so much about missing out on these payouts, which they're going to be plenty concerned about, but that if we start to go in the direction of where they're Power 5s just playing Power 5s, and there's already been so much speculation about realignment here in 2 or 3 years that we are perhaps setting the table to move forward to, it's the Power 5 and then it's everybody else, or do you think we're not quite heading in that direction just yet?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point. Really hadn't thought about that today as this stuff was unfolding, but there's no doubt that things have been. You can understand why some people have wondered if things are heading in that direction. And I think in a crisis like this, you wonder, okay, are the 10 FBS conferences working together, or is it just the Big 5? And I think probably it'll just be the Big 5. So, we've sort of seen how throughout this process that like legislation probably should be handled by the conferences and not by Mark Emmert and the NCAA. I think it's more efficient and effective if the leagues are being able to make their own decisions. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point that this probably creates a little bit wider gap between these haves and have-nots when you take away those games.
Max, I saw Randy Peterson, who covers the Big 12, Iowa State with the Des Moines Register. He had apparently gotten in touch, or I don't know, text or whatever, with Bob Bowlesby about whether or not does this mean the Big 12 is on the verge of something. And Bowlesby, he said no. Does that show a little bit of like leadership in this day and age of so many people almost feeling as if they're forced into making decisions because of what other people are doing?
I mean, I think there's been a bunch of reports since that the Big Ten didn't tip off anybody that they were doing this until they did it. So I think part of that, it's not that the SEC and Big 12 are like caught flat-footed here or anything. I think it's just a little bit that this came out of left field. And I think probably to some leagues, you look at it and say, maybe it's a little too early in the calendar to make that judgment, So, but I do think the Big Ten making that move will probably expedite things a little bit for these leagues. So I think part of that with Bob Bowlesby saying no is that this was not maybe a coordinated plan by the 5 Power 5 leagues to sort of make this move together. But the other part of this, guys, like you think about it, like do you really think Baylor should play Incarnate Word this year?
Play what?
Do you guys really think that Baylor should be playing its non-conference games this year? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, go ahead. You guys answer it.
I'm kind of indifferent about it.
I'm kind of indifferent too. Like if not playing them means that they can play the other 9, then that's what I would. Whatever it takes to play the games that matter, so to speak. Although I know like Baylor has their best non-conference schedule ever. They got La Tech and Ole Miss, and that we're going to probably miss out on. So yeah, I'm kind of with Paul, a little bit indifferent. As just hopeful we get the conference games.
My point, they've heard me say this is Why today? Why was today the day? Like, why is Armageddon today? Why do we have to, launch balloons today? I just wish that and again, I don't have those meetings. I don't have all the information, but can we just take a deep breath? But I guess these guys aren't going to just make decisions to make them. And then again, maybe they are. I don't know.
Well, I think the reason I asked about Incarnate Word is because I think we can all, it's fair to wonder, and I'm not trying to take anything away from when I say this is devastating for programs that need those bye games. I have no doubt that Incarnate Word is one of them, but it is tough as all these conferences try to get on try to figure out the right protocols for even putting on a season and doing so in the middle of a pandemic and doing it safely. It's kind of hard to say, yeah, we're gonna play an FCS team that has limited resources, limited budget. It's hard to demand that they, test at the level that we can. I think that part of it is also why it's just really challenging to do non-conference play this year, because that standard of how are you testing and how are you doing this as safely as possible is not something that all 130 can kind of reach that same bar.
Bob Bowlesby said he was on a conference call this morning with new Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren, who gave no indication of conference-only schedule move. Bowlesby, I believe it's early to make it's early to make that sort of decision, but perhaps they have a different perspective. That's Chuck Carlton with the Dallas Morning News. So, and that's kind of how I feel. Now, whether they should play Incarnate Word in the non-conference game or not, it doesn't bother me if they do or don't. It really doesn't. I'm just happy. I'm being selfish here, right? For the first time in forever, they're playing games like that, the non-conference schedule. This is such a Baylor thing to happen, that they have Louisiana.
It is pretty darkly ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, and they actually have 2 really, Louisiana Tech can beat them, along with a lot of other people. But, Paul, anything else for Max?
No, I'm good.
Craig?
Max, do you have a particular non-conference game? I know there's a lot to sort through with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and whoever else follows suit. But of those games that we now know are probably not going to happen, is there one that stands out to you that you're most bummed about not being able to see?
Yeah, I'm worried about the Oregon Ducks because they're going to play an absolutely epic non-conference schedule this year. They're going to open up with North Dakota State and Trey Lance and the best team in FCS. Then they're going to play Ohio State. Then they're going to play Hawaii. So I think all of that's going to get wiped out, which is a real bummer. I think Oregon-Ohio State is one of those probably the biggest casualties there when you talk about Big Ten non-conference games that get canceled. So you hate to see that stuff. And, it's really strange, guys. It really is that we've arrived at this point, and I've seen Gene Smith, the AD of Ohio State, say a big part of this is just, quite, and I'm sure I've said this on the show, but I think the back in early June when we felt like everything was right on, on schedule with players getting back to campus, part of that was the underlying belief there was that things would be better in July and they'd be better in August. And nationally, I think we're seeing that things aren't getting better the way they should.
All right. Thanks, Max. Appreciate your time from theathletic.com. We appreciate that. Every Thursday in the 4 o'clock hour. I thought we dropped on him a second. Sorry about that.
He just finished his thought.
When we come back, 4:20, a couple of notes. The National Junior College Athletics Association has made an announcement, released a statement. I reached out to a guy that I know who's been in TJC, Tyler Junior College, and Tim Drain. His thoughts about it. Although he's now even upper in administration about what's going on with the NJCAA. That and more, plus 254-339-1122 in the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Are you looking for a new home? Are you trying to sell the one you're in right now? Upsizing, downsizing, whatever it is, you need to call my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team brokered by eXp Realty and let them be your go-to source as you search for that perfect home. Call Lance 254-214-3713 or visit his webpage, LanceDonaldson.exprealty.com. Lance is a fantastic guy. You're going to love talking to him. You're going to love looking for houses with him. He's going to make sure that everything you need, everything you ask for, he's going to try to check that off the list and find that perfect home for you and your family. Again, online at LanceDonaldson.exprealty.com or give him a call, 254-214-3713.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
So it's time for us to have a talk because obviously your buddies aren't telling you and neither is your woman. You've been driving that truck around exposing your stuff. It's not only embarrassing, it's disgusting. I'm talking about full frontal truck nudity, and it's time for you to do something about it with a grill guard or a front-end replacement bumper from Pickup Outfitters. There are lots of good reasons to get a grill guard, like when Bambi decides to cross the road at the same time you're occupying it. But the best reason is that no one wants to see your junk up in your grill. Pickup Outfitters on Lake Erie Drive carries all the major brands of grill guards, including Ranch Hand, Cattleman, and even the Renegade brand made right here in Waco. And every grill guard we sell comes with our lifetime installation guarantee and no-worry warranty program. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Erie Drive in Waco. Check out our grill guards on our website at createacommotion.com/guards. createacommotion.com/guards.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Court. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
So to update you, and I'm going to have the NJCAA statement in a minute. Big Ten conference games only in football. Pac-12 apparently and the ACC on the verge of basically saying the same thing. Bob Bowlesby, when Randy Peterson of the Des Moines, Iowa, Register in Des Moines, Iowa, said, does this mean you guys are on the edge of maybe the same thing? And Bowlesby said no. Max Olson kind of reiterating that, and Chuck Carlton had the text. I don't think Bowlesby or anyone in the Big 12 knew this was coming, although I'm sure it had been discussed. I said it'll be interesting to see if the SEC and Big 12 say, wait just a damn minute. And Ryan on Twitter, I think they will. As a matter of fact, I wonder if the Big 12 and SEC will get together and come up with a partnership to fill in each other's schedule. Well, the Big 10, again, the Big 12 has the 9 games. The SEC's the one with 8.
Come on, A&M and Texas, no excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would just, like
there you
sweating.
go.
Now, the NJCAA released a statement about what they're going to do. And the statement is, in regards to the upcoming academic year, Presidential Advisory Council recommended that a majority of competition move to the spring semester of 2021. So my question was, the majority of competition, does that mean football? A JUCO AD that I know, they will have the vote on Monday. It will be the board, the President's Advisory Committee, the Board of Regents of the NJCAA will vote Monday. The proposal takes every fall sport, including football, and moves it to the spring. But this would not include something like women's tennis at the lower levels of junior, because junior college has Division I, Division II, Division III. But football, volleyball, soccer, all would move to the spring, and this AD telling me he believes that it will pass.
Yeah, that to me is very similar to the Ivy League. So, if they're going to do it, the smaller, because they're not racking up money from attendance or things like that. It might as well, for them, follow suit of the Ivy League and move it.
Mac Rhodes just sent this to me. Not necessarily a surprise. Knew they were considering in depth. Has been a consideration for all. Still on the table for other A5s, including Big 12. Not there yet. We'll continue to consider full 12 with conference only as an option.
So the Big 12 and the SEC, the Big 12 and the SEC are the last to make this decision. Now they might drop their guarantee. The little, like I thought that would have been the first consideration, is the guarantee games with the smaller schools. Those are going to go, but the larger Power Fives, you keep those for as long as you can. But
yeah, I just wonder how long the Big 12 waits to make a decision, because there is only so much time left. I mean, they could wait till the end of the month, in theory, so give themselves another 3 weeks or so. But I just have a hard time seeing how much is going to really change in 3 weeks that would make them go from considering it to saying, oh, no, we're totally good. I mean, that'd be great. That means like a lot of the testing numbers and things would be going down at a pretty good clip if they were all of a sudden changing gears like that. But yeah, man, it's probably the likelihood now. I mean, I would bank on no non-conference games versus banking on the full 12, but I appreciate the fact that they're at least going to try and wait it out as long as they can and see what they can make of it, as opposed to just calling it quits right now. But again, you only got a little bit of a window left now at this point, because for as long as we kept saying, I used this example earlier, well, it's only this date, and it's only this date. Well, it is July 9th, and the season starts at the end of next month. So 6 weeks away seems like forever, but the way 2020 has gone, even though it's felt like it's dragged on, it hasn't in a way. Like, it's been a very weird, slow, and yet fast year. So that 6 weeks will probably be here before we know it, and it'll be time to, supposedly get football started, but I don't know where we'll be at that point.
Yeah.
Not necessarily surprised. Kind of the same thing again, in a way, with what Bob Bowlesby said. Knew they were considering it in depth. Has been consideration. Not there yet. We'll continue to consider full 12 with conference only as an option.
Yep. Is it not weird that the Big Ten guy didn't say anything to Bowlesby if they talked this morning, and then the Big Ten
No,
comes
it's very
out?
weird. It's kind of like, it's like, wait a minute. You couldn't even at least give us a hint this was coming?
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, later this afternoon at some point, we're going to announce that we're going conference only, just so you're not blindsided by this. Because we're all, the Power Fives are all kind of in the same bed.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I thought earlier was they're clearly that they've had to talk to each other throughout this process, but
not as much as we thought, apparently.
No.
Mickey Spagnola on the what's going on a week from tomorrow, yesterday?
We had 6 days.
With the Patrick Mahomes and Dak and much more. That's next with Mickey Spagnola. George Teague at 5, Cornell Green 5:30. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine is fantastic. You if you've not been over there to buy your beverages, you need to check it out. If you're worried about going inside, which you shouldn't be because it's fantastic and clean and spotless in non-pandemic times. Spotless now. They've not had to change anything because they were always spotless and always gloriously clean. So you can go in there, you can walk into the beer fridge and see the fantastic, most extensive selections of craft beer in Waco. They've got Balcones in stock as well. So if you're a whiskey fan like me, you've got that. Or if you want to just go up to the drive-thru, what you do is you go to the drive-thru, you tell them I'd like this, this, and that. They go get it for you. They bring it out, put it in your car, and you zoom on off onto the rest of your life to enjoy your beverages. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated, a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day, payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It's summer. Time to go somewhere in a new Jeep from Allen Samuels. It's our huge summer clearance event featuring 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on our hottest models. Pick a new 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with $5,750 in total values, or 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or the fun 2020 Jeep Renegade with up to $7,000 in total values, or 0% for 72. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Earlier today, we had Jack Youngblood. Later today, Cornell Green. George Teague will join us at 5 o'clock. And, of course, the great moments in his career, both in college and the NFL. Mickey, thanks for your time. I want to ask you about Cornell Green. There seems to be a little bit of a push about Cornell Green and the Ring of Honor, and you look at his numbers, and you look at his history, and you look at his career. He was great today when we talked to him. We'll have that at 5:30. Your thoughts about Cornell Green and the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I think, David, he should be one of the next guys that they should seriously consider. You know, I wasn't here when he played, but when I talked to the old-timers, the guys that covered the teams in the late 60s and through the 70s and, you know, the 80s, and I would always ask, I said, so, you know, of all those guys in that era, who should be next? And Cornell Green's name invariably came up. They thought he deserved, and not only deserved, but it was deserving to preserve his story of how a guy that didn't play football in college, was a basketball player, gets drafted by the Cowboys, and he turns himself into a Pro Bowl defensive back along the way. So, yeah, I think he should be a guy. And I always listen to those guys because they saw it, they knew, and if it was good for them, guys like the late Frank Luxa, then it's certainly good for me.
All right, Mickey, I need to get your crystal ball and your tarot cards and your tea leaves out. 6 days from now, 6 days from now, are we talking about a long-term Dak Prescott contract?
We should be, if he's got a lick of sense. Because, you know, and I think I've pointed this out before to you guys, for what the Cowboys have been offering, he could put $50 million in a signing bonus in the bank tomorrow if he signs, assuming that's still on the table. To me, I would rather a $50 million signing bonus than having to play an entire season and get paid week by week to get to $31 million. So it's not like the Cowboys are gypping them. It's just a matter of how much they want and what term they want it over. You want it over 4, you want it over 5, or you want to just play for 1. And to me, I understand. I see all these people talking about, play for that tag. You know, you can make $69 million over 2 years. Well, you can make probably $175 or $180 million over 5 years, and have $50 million in the bank already. So, I understand he's got representatives, and they looking for whatever they're looking for. But to me, it should happen. Will it happen? At this point, I got no idea, because it should have happened months ago. It seems like.
Mickey, just what was your initial reaction to when you saw the Patrick Mahomes numbers?
I said, let me see the inside of the numbers, how the contract is spread out. And the first misnomer about the contract, it's a 10-year extension, but they've got control over him for 12 years. So, because he had 2 years left on his rookie contract, and those base salaries do count. So the key thing is the Chiefs agreed with these guarantee mechanisms that if you're basically on the roster, the third day of the league year in 2021, you're guaranteeing your roster bonus and base salary in 2022. And one of them, it guarantees 2 years ahead of time. So he's always ahead of the game. So as long as he's on the roster for 1 year, he's guaranteed the next year, and so on throughout the contract. So I realize it's a big number, but in my column last night on DallasCowboys.com, I figured out that Dak Prescott, if he signed that deal I just said to you guys, 5 years, say $180 million. I don't know. It's not my money. Give him $190 million. Over 5 years, he'll make more money in those 5 years than Patrick Mahomes will make in the first 5 years of his contract, the 3 years of the extension and 2 years of the base salary. Because in those 5 years, 2 and then 3, his cash flow will be $141 million. because he only got a $10 million signing bonus. So the majority of his contract are in roster bonuses. So if you're on that roster, then you guarantee the next year and the next year. Now, if he goes through the whole total, well, okay, he can get to $477 million guaranteed over the 12 years. But again, will you get there? And with a salary cap, and it's been going up and up. Now, I don't know what's going to happen because of this year. But what will market value be for the best quarterback in the league at that time? You know, he might be getting under market value at that point. So, but again, he made this decision that security meant more than the money right now. And I understand that. He's only 24 years old. You know, how much money do you need at 24 years old, right?
Right.
But when you're 31 years old, now that contract will look awfully good, assuming that the Chiefs don't get to a point and say, okay, this has got a little exorbitant. We're going to have to renegotiate. But again, if they ask him to renegotiate, who's got the leverage? Because he's got his guarantees. Yeah, it's a big contract, but it takes a long time. And, you know, all I know is guys that have signed long-term deals, when they get towards the end of it, they have a little bit of remorse.
How long was Aikman's when he signed that first one? Because they renegotiated his like a bunch to try to help find money under the cap when they were trying to win that one more championship. Was it 5 years and $50 million? What was his?
No, his first contract was, it might have been 4 years, $11 million.
Okay.
It wasn't that much. And then they had to re-sign him.
Right.
And then signed him again. So I think he ended up with 3 contracts before they decided not on the roster bonus going into one season.
Okay.
Because he was due a $7 million roster bonus, and they decided because of his health situation that wasn't going to be worth it.
Okay, I was wondering if his first extension was like a long-term deal. I know they had to renegotiate it a bunch.
It was David. It was a long term, but I don't think it was more than 5 years.
That's what I thought.
I certainly have to look it up. I'm thinking that's about what it probably was kind of standard operating procedure. You know, I think previously the longest contract the Cowboys had signed was Tyron Smith, right? I think he ended up with a 8-9 year contract, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that.
Yep.
I mean, he's still got years left. You know, and remember they did it with Greg Ellis too, signed him to a 7-year deal. And by the time Greg got to year 5, he was being underpaid, and you know, he wasn't a happy camper. And funny story. So we used to have this little old timers lunch once a week or once a month with the guys that covered the Cowboys forever. You know, Frank Luxa, Brad was there, guys that worked at the Morning News, and myself and Goose and Pat Summerall. And so they were talking about Greg's contract. And I said, well, here's the problem. It's like he signed that deal, and then in the next year or two, they had the explosion of contracts that everybody started getting these big signing bonus, and they started getting bigger base salaries. And I said, Pat, you know, the problem with Greg is he came along too soon. And in Summerall's inimitable voice, he goes, "We all came around too soon."
Oh my gosh! Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Mickey,
so that's what happens a lot of times, you guys, with those long-term deals. But this one's got a lot of guarantees in it. So, you know, 1 year guarantees the next year, and the next year guarantees the next year. So it would be really hard for the Chiefs to get out of the contract unless I saw at one point they could get out of it, but they would owe a $50 million. They would get charged $50 million against the salary cap in dead money to get out of the contract.
Mickey, thank you, man. Appreciate your time. Enjoy yourself.
Sure
Stay
thing.
safe. Yep. Thank you. That's
I'll try.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Coming up, we'll have high school football coach Kirk Mule from Lexington. George Teague at 5 and Cornell Green today at 5:30. All sorts of news with the Big Ten. And then Ross Dellinger, who we had on the show just yesterday, just put this up that he got in an inbox that the CIAA conference has decided to vote that sport competition will be moved from the fall conference sponsored by will not occur during the fall 2020 due to ongoing safety concerns associated with COVID-19. So there's another. So here come, again, others.
There it comes. Yeah.
And I wonder if everyone wanted to do this and just waiting for the first one to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
If you wanted to do it, do it.
The Pac-12 was definitely playing follow the leader. Like I said, I'll take as many shots as I can, and not great leadership. So, yeah, it just seems like everybody else is following suit.
High school football next. Sikkim 365 Radio. How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7. And personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna. And now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere. And yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
4:47 is the time on Sikkim 365 Radio. We'll have George Teague today at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock. At 5:30, we'll hear from Cornell Green, the great Cornell Green. You heard Mickey talk about him and discuss his career as there's a push. Rick Gosselin, a Hall of Fame voter, a Hall of Fame writer, wrote something earlier this week about Cornell Green and the Ring of Honor. We mentioned yesterday, thank you, Paul. We mentioned yesterday the UIL, and they had the latest on workouts resuming on Monday as they continue to forge ahead after kind of letting things tap the brakes a little bit. Kirk Mull now joins us from Lexington High School, the Eagles. He joins us on Sick on 365 Radio as he's traveling, so we appreciate the loyalty and the time. So, Kirk, were you relieved when you got that from the UIL that you guys can kind of go back to work?
Yeah, we've been ready to go back. We kind of took off last week. It kind of was already planned to take off, and then it kind of went right with what the UIL said. So, a little bit of a break in there, and then get the kids back. So we're excited for Monday.
You have a young man. You and I have spoken about this. The running back that was he was not available. He was ineligible for part of your last year. And then all of a sudden, bam, here comes Lexington. Is it Jared Kerr? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How good is he?
He's a really good talent. He's a high level kid. He's going to be a high level recruit, or already is as an incoming junior.
Is he already getting as much notice as he can, being that much of an underclassman?
No, I think all the stuff that's going on right now is I think it's kind of hampered, him getting out there as much as he really should. I think if he'd had the camps to go to this summer and some of the other stuff, I think he'd already have a whole lot more offers than what he already has.
Because if people look at your record last year, and you and I did speak to this when I saw you starting to win games against good people, you ended up 5-8, but you went 3 rounds deep in the playoffs, and you have most of that team back for 2020. How much patience did you have last year to wait for the moment where you guys could click and have everybody that you needed to be successful?
Oh, it was difficult. It's real difficult when you're used to winning and your kids are used to winning a whole bunch. And then all of a sudden you're not, and you're in games and you're playing well at times, and you're real, hit and miss, and you're really just missing one part to what you need. Jared is a great player, and I know he came in and he fulfilled a part that we were needing and that we didn't have. And when you have that, then everything else comes together. And it was really the football team we had last year was a pretty good team. They were 0-6, and they were still a pretty good team. Mm-hmm. They just couldn't quite get over the top. And when Jared came in, it put us over the top of things, and it allowed us to win the football game.
So at 0-6, how do you convince your team and your fan base, hey, we're going to be okay?
Well, it wasn't really easy. I had to, talk some of our coaches off the ledge a little bit at times last year, but I think just the whole mentality of what we preach of being mentally tough, and that, life is not fair, just kind of like all the stuff we're going through right now with the COVID. And, we just preached, to being, good people. And when you have kids and, the town really supports us, and they really support our kids here. When you have stuff like that, it lets your kids be mentally tough at the same time. Now, I don't know how long that could have gone on at that rate, and it has still worked out. But, at 0-6, well, another thing that happened is we also got out of our preseason. And, our preseason, we usually have a really tough schedule, so it kind of snowballed on us.
Right.
And it didn't help us who we were playing at the time either. So, we saw the light at the end of the tunnel even before Jared was coming. But, he was just an added bonus on top of what we already had going.
You played Burton. They made the playoffs. Troy had one of their once-in-a-lifetime years. Rockdale. Hearn had the explosive offense that they had. Caldwell. Yeah, and then Shiner. And, of course, they're always an elite team. And then here you go. You kind of got rolling a little bit. The win against Clifton kind of opened some people's eyes along the way as well. So how much, because of what they dealt with, and you have so many of those players back, do you feel like if, in fact, you can play this year, whenever the games begin, how good you might be and back maybe to what Lexington's used to?
I think we can be back to where we were used to. Yeah, of course, I'm more of an old school coach. It always boils down to the offensive line, and what they can and can't do, and if we can play really good defense. And I think we have all the pieces to the puzzle that we need. I know, we return 9 on offense and 8 on defense, and I'm on defense. I've got to figure out how to replace our middle linebacker, who was really a rock for us for the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can do that on defense, and we can keep our offensive line healthy, then we're going to be a really tough team to beat.
Is that Allert?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That family's never produced any talent, has it?
Yeah. They've been keeping me supplied. I think they have one more coming. He'll be a 5th grader. So hopefully we'll catch back up here for long. But no, we got a lot of good talent right now. Our summer workouts have been outstanding, especially from our younger groups. I can't complain at all about the buy-in from our kids right now. So if we can keep that going, and I think if we can stay healthy, I think we can make a long run.
Coach, you're going to see some familiar opponents in district like Florence and Clifton, but you now also got Riesel and Franklin and Buffalo as well. What are your thoughts on your new district?
Our new district is really tough. I think you have from top to bottom. It's going to be a difficult schedule, especially with some of the caliber at the top of it. That you're talking about teams that are 2-round teams. Foul teams, really good football teams, and one dropping down from big school that's a really good football team. So our district's going to be wide open. You can be first or you can be 5th in a hurry. I can promise. Just you can't have a game that you don't do well in. You got to have to bring your A game every week.
Kirk, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being a part of it. You've been a part of state championships before with Mark, track at Lexington, and Baylor University graduate. Enjoy your trip. You're traveling. Be safe, and thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
That's Kirk Moll, the head coach at Lexington, 5-8 last year. Just, 3 or 4 years ago, they were 13-1 and 17, 11-3 the year before that.
This is not all that different from kind of what we've been talking about, but I guess more reporters are getting a hold of Bob Bowlesby. Big 12 Commissioner Cedric Golden from the Statesman said, I asked Bob Bowlesby about the Big Ten's decision to go to a conference-only football schedule, and his reply was, it's something we've looked at, but for us it's too early to make that decision. The league is taking a more patient approach. So,
all right. Yeah, and that's kind of just...
It's kind of rehashing what we said, but it's just another quote from him on saying, what their plan is. They're going to be more patient, and they're still of the belief that it's too early to go ahead and make the call. But I will tell you this, Oklahoma has apparently already canceled their non-conference game against Tennessee. That was going to be played, I believe, in week number 2. And Joe Castiglione, I guess, told people that they're going to buy out Tennessee and, pay them the money, I guess, that was set up for that, whatever. But, yeah, they're going to buy them out of that game. Now, I wonder in that language there, if you buy them out, then you could set yourself up to play somebody else, or if they're just going ahead, because, like Lincoln Riley was going completely different from everybody else and looks smart in hindsight in doing so, as they waited longer than anybody to bring kids back on campus. And today they announced 0 positives in their latest round of testing out of a lot of tests that were done. So they seem to be handling it pretty well. But, yeah, it'll be quite interesting that, now we're seeing Oklahoma already canceling non-conference games, and the Big 12 has made no announcement of any sort.
Yeah. And again, as we've said, the Big Ten makes their decision. The Pac-12 will most likely be just around the corner. The ACC had already mentioned pretty much nothing until after September, and they're being reported as going conference only, although that's not yet been official. And the ACC tied Notre Dame into the picture by saying if we go conference games only, Notre Dame already plays 6 of us games against the ACC. We'll figure out how to make sure they get to the right number. A couple of text lines, and then we break. Leon, TJ, so frustrating when everyone does this because somebody else did it, and that makes you wonder if all of these others are now releasing it today because the Big Ten did, then why didn't you do that before?
No, I agree.
Why not 3 days ago? Why not, if you're the CIAA or NJCAA, why wait for, if you believe that's what you should do, then do it. Don't do it because now they've done it, we're okay, we won't take any heat.
Or you can hide behind the Big Ten.
Yeah. When we come back, George Teague, and he just tweeted us out, let's get it. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Ideal MRI. Man, these guys are fantastic with what they do. First of all, bringing down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality with you and what you need to have, well, figure out what's going on with your body. Well, something that's really more than just sore. Something that's more than just an ache and a pain. Something that feels like it's wrong, whether it's a ligament, a bone, or a muscle, or something else. Ideal MRI can help you get straight to the problem. And at times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important. Significant illnesses and injuries occur every day, and Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time, offering premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists. And I have been to where they are in the Central Texas marketplace, and I have been through scheduling an appointment, walking through the front door and getting checked in, being prepped, and then going in and having an MRI and getting the results back immediately. Dr. Rob Maxey and his staff have been fantastic. You'll pay less, sometimes thousands of dollars less for your MRI. And they also accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs. And if you want to ask your doctor about Ideal MRI, the answer is going to be very positive if you want to ask them about it because they do a great job. IdealMRI.com. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
That says blitz. Passes away, penalty flag down. Lamar Thomas has got it. Lamar Thomas is on his way down the sideline. George Teague is after him and runs him down. Takes the ball away from him. Teague's got the ball.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
We are joined by George Teague, and he has so much fun on Twitter. Have been following him, and again, looking forward to this at Teague Football with us. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, David Smoke on Sikkim 365 Radio. How you been, George?
Man, it's been a great day, brother. Thank you guys for allowing me to come on with you guys for a little bit.
Your pinned tweet from June 26th was a guy that showed the pick you made against Miami, ran it back with a high step like Dion, and then used. Yeah, that was kind of pretty, wasn't it? You were a big moment player. I mean, big moment player.
Well, thank you very much, and I guess I'm allowed to say Roll Tide as well. But you know what? I love playing the game. I think that it's an opportunity for us to learn, to deal with adversity. But just when you're playing on the big stage, and you got an opportunity to do something great, whether it's catching a big touchdown, intercepting the ball, making a big hit, those are things that you never, ever forget as a player. That happened almost, was that 30 years ago?
It's a long time ago, my man.
Yeah.
30 years ago, we're still talking about it, so it's kind of cool.
That was a big moment for your coach, Gene Stallings. I think to this day, he's the only coach ever to be fired from one FBS program and then win a national championship at another. And you guys won the national championship the year. What was it like playing for Coach Stallings?
I love playing for Coach Stallings. So I first went in, and I had the opportunity to have two different coaches. I had Bill Curry my first year. Awesome man, loved everything that he had for the program too. And he got fired. And then Coach Stallings came in, and although there were some similarities, it was a little bit different. He allowed us and taught us, a lot about growing up, how to be men. So, of course, we did a lot of football. But it was always talk about class and family and education while trying to win. And I'm glad to still be in contact with them, occasionally. And he always asked the same questions, still about the family and kids and, business and life. So it was amazing to be able to play for Coach Stallings.
You won a national championship, and Alabama won plenty of them before you guys in 1992. But to see the run that they've been on as an alum, what has that been like as an Alabama ex to just see the dominance that they've displayed for, the better part of going over a decade now?
Yeah, well, you can't see me right now because I got a big smile on my face from ear to ear because, it's like locker room talk. It is a time when you can boast and brag about your school, a bunch. And it's hard when your teams aren't very good or the traditions aren't there. But what Nick Saban has been able to do to continue to build an empire and legacy like that, where you're just consistently one of the best teams in the country is awesome. There's so many, being in this part of the country, being in Texas and having Baylor and Texas and OU and TCU, then I get to walk around with my Alabama flag and in jersey and stuff. And it is pleasing to be able to say that, we have a lot of good things happening at your alma mater as well.
You had something you said earlier today that made me kind of laugh, and I guess for yesterday that we're allowed to still enjoy things and laugh during these tough times. The first time we're allowed to watch a game on TV, we will automatically think it's a replay. Producers are going to have to post a graphic saying this is for real. God, that's so real. That's so true, though, isn't it? I mean, It's true.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was sitting there watching that game, and I really thought it was. I was watching a soccer game, and I didn't even really realize it was real. I was like, "What is this?" Kind of deal, because there's no fans in the stands. I thought it was just some exhibition game that I was watching, and I didn't even know if I should believe the little live sign that's up in the corner, because they still show that on replay sometime. And it didn't really hit me until I saw the mask. The medics come out with the mask on their face, like, "Oh, this is happening like today."
Right.
So I'm hoping that, man. I'm hoping we get some sports back here, and a little bit of normalcy. I know there's a lot of things going on with the pandemic and the riots and all that kind of stuff, but I think for all of our sanity, we need to get back to a little bit of normal life here pretty soon.
What would you do if you were a football player, a senior headed into your last year at Alabama, or you're ready to play a year with the Cowboys or the Packers or whoever, and you didn't know if you were going to be able to play?
I would be terrified, especially depending on where you were. So I can talk for my case specifically. If we put this into my year, so I didn't know where I was going to be drafted or if I had a chance to be drafted. Now I know ended up going the first round, but that's not where I was projected to be. Originally I was going to be a 6th round pick. And things of that nature. And really, my stock changed after, my senior season, and particularly with the national championship game. So my life probably would be totally different if I wouldn't have been able to play my senior year. So I know that for colleges players who are trying to get to the league, or high school players who maybe are trying to better themselves to get to college, not being able to play their senior year, that's tough, especially if you're not elite already and don't have it, and you got an opportunity. Man, I feel for the seniors at all levels who are, trying to make it to the next level.
How often, I'm about to ask you now, but how often do you get asked about hitting Terrell Owens?
Daily? No, seriously. I mean, we were talking about it last night. Me and my wife were trying to grab some food, and it comes up, a bunch. And that's okay. It's not something I'm ashamed of or, not happy to talk about, because that's, part of my, growing up, legacy, all that kind of stuff too. It just, you learn a lot about yourself in a lot of situations, and sometimes when you forget that, you're causing a ruckus out in the middle of the field in front of 90,000 people, it's kind of hard to forget about that a little bit too. So it's something I get to talk to my players about, or to my family about, my kids, and, always reminding them about the decisions we make, come with consequences. In this case, getting fined, but sometimes we can, hey man, $24,999.
Yo, is that what it was, huh? Why didn't they just round it off?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like going to the grocery store, everything ends with 99 cents or whatever it is.
You're like, thanks for the buck I saved.
Yeah. So it's, but that's a pretty expensive. Well, I don't know. I don't know how fast my 40 was at that time, but it was 4.5 seconds down there, and another, 10 seconds out on the field. I mean, that's, it hit your pocket pretty heavy, but I think it was all worth it, and I'd do it all over again.
Yeah, and certainly I think a lot of people would hope that you would do it again. There's a lot of people that cheered that on, and it was a crazy moment. George, you were with the Cowboys in 96 for a little bit, and then 98 to 2001. What stands out to you about your time with the star on your helmet?
I can honestly say that it was my best playing days were with the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that's because of the atmosphere, the coaching staff, the ownership, the players that we had on the team. Excellence was required when I came in, and the way they practiced and the way we helped each other And I mean, I'd already, like you said, been in the league for a few years, but there were some things that Kevin Smith told me just about backpedaling. I just kind of asked him questions, and I've been backpedaling all my life. But, I switched my backpedal when I got to the Cowboys, and I think it made me a better player. And you don't get that from a lot of people, especially if you're competing with them. So, I have just memories of family, the locker room presence, the fun, but also the competitiveness where it was, we got to go out and be the best that we can be. And when you're not playing as well as you should, it was anger. It was not accepting it. Now, I know the Cowboys ended up going on the drought there for a little while, but the people that I was associated with the Dallas Cowboys made it, 5 of the greatest years that I was able to play in the NFL.
George, when you watch them now, however often you do, and you see they've teased fans or even former players or whoever, on occasion they have this team that looks like, okay, this is the one. But then you look back, it's been 25 years since right before you arrived in Dallas, since they've even played in a conference championship game. What do you see that's missing?
What I think is actually what you just said, and what I just said. I think, and I'll go to a lot of games. Me and my family pretty much go to all of the home games, pretty much. So we get to watch it as fans, but also, just as a former player. And I often always ask, how close are they as a team? In the locker room or out of the locker room. Our world is different with the social media and the me culture and all that kind of stuff, and I think it makes it hard for them to bond the way they need to bond to be able to play for each other. So although they are very talented, have a lot of key points, it doesn't seem like that they're necessarily playing for each other. Now, I have no knowledge of that because I'm sitting out here, like everyone else. But when you watch and you see lack of emotion sometime, or you don't hear, and I'm close enough to enough people that you don't hear enough about the private conversations and the team meetings and the things where you got to come together as family. I don't know that that's happening, and it's a shame because they got the tools, especially now after this draft. It should be something that we should be able to put together and win some games and get back to an NFC championship, try to make a Super Bowl run, but just hadn't been able to do it, bro. Haven't been able to do it.
George, it's interesting that you make that observation as a former player from the outside. I cover the Cowboys every week, and going in the locker room, and the year I think of the last, since I've been doing it, that they had the best chemistry was Dak and Zeke's rookie year, where that team was kind of young and young and not smart enough to know that they, that you could do all these other things. They were just kind of playing to play and riding that wave. And then every year since then, it's not like it's bad, but it's not like it was like that, where they were so tight-knit. So it is interesting to hear you say that from an outside player's perspective, because I wonder about that. And I'm just a guy who goes in the locker room a couple times a week to ask them, questions about the team they're going to play.
Well, you can see it, and especially since you're in the locker room and stuff. And I don't know how it is now, but I do know that we ate together, whether that was right there in the little dining hall or, at this time it was at Valley Ranch. It's not nice what it is now. But if it wasn't there, it was at Wingstop. It was, at some restaurant or something where maybe the whole position group went, where the DBs would just go sit and break bread and talk noise or whatever it is, and you might go with the wide receivers or something and bond in a different way like that. And I'm almost certain that's you still have some certain pockets because you hear about it, some, but I think in general, I don't think that's happening as you're seeing, when you're in there.
George, who was the first person to put a football in your hand and was an influence on the path that you eventually took with the game?
So I had 7 older brothers.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm the baby out of everybody. So the ball didn't make it in my hands first. It made it to my face first. So I quickly had to learn how to deal with that, especially because my closest brother to me is 9 years older than me. So you had to learn how to defend yourself fairly quickly. And all my brothers were involved in sports. And my dad coached me when I was young. Now I can tell you this, and this will probably be interesting to your listeners. My mom is actually the reason why I'm ended up playing football in high school and beyond, because I wasn't going to do it. I was little. I was going to go play soccer. I wanted to be little Pele. I lived overseas growing up, and I had the opportunity to get really good at soccer, and that's what I wanted to do. And my mama, when I had to make a choice, I finally had to make a choice and get to that point in high school where it's like, okay, you got to pick something, and it can't be football and soccer. I chose soccer. Got home, told my mom what I was going to do. She sat me down and said, son, you're not going to play soccer.
Wow.
You're going to go play football. So you need to figure out what position you're going to play. So let's talk about it. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Because I want to be a running back, if I was going to play. And she's like, that don't sound like where you need to be either. So I went out, tried out as a defensive back, and there it is. Rest is history. Thank you, Mama.
Moms know best, right?
She cuts right to the quick, too,
Yeah,
man.
she does.
George, nope. You've been coaching. Are you still at John Paul II?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been coaching. How, for someone like yourself, and again, at times you were overlooked, but someone yourself that played the game at the highest level, did coaching come naturally to you, or was it sometimes difficult?
No, I've had difficult times. I think I studied so many of the coaches that I was around that once I got into it, I kind of had an idea of who I wanted to be like. That was Coach Stallings. That was Mike Zimmer. That was Coach Dick Duran. And I can name all this. There's Clancy Pendergrass.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys that I took things from or notes from or would call and still call to ask for help. But I can also vividly remember, doing things in meetings, when I was young in particular. Still happens now, but could be in meetings or in a game or something. It was just bad. And, you have to have honest self-evaluations and asking people and mentors. And they're like, that probably wasn't the best thing to do to that child at that moment. And there's a couple of ways I could have did it, but most of them, I've been able not to duplicate the mistakes that I was making. So it's not an easy thing to coach because, you're dealing with a lot of personalities, a lot of parents, a lot of people that have different goals maybe than what the program is calling for.
Yep.
But, it's our job to try to pull a whole family together and get them going in the right direction so that we can be successful, win games, do well at academics, and be great citizens. So, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
If you don't
I'm
mind,
18 years in now.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So you were born in Michigan, but you grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and then obviously played for Alabama. So I would think when you were growing up, which was just after what we had with Martin Luther King and civil rights, how much did you experience any of the issues we see that's being discussed and hopefully listened to today when you lived in Alabama?
I experienced probably more than people think. I'm 49 years old, but when I moved to Alabama, we still had what was called a majority-minority school system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of that or not.
Yep.
Yeah, I have.
Craig went to one. Yeah.
Yeah, where I was bused, I was in a predominantly black neighborhood, pretty much all black, and bused all the way to the other side of town to help with the desegregation, to Jeff Davis High School, which was predominantly white at the time. So, there still was a lot of challenges that we had to face as far as, desegregation, and, it wasn't as bad as not being able to drink out the water fountain and all that kind of stuff, but it was still, little tense, going, man, I'm passing by, 3 other high schools to get to this one. So there were some challenges that, I had to overcome with that. But my experiences were, good, I would say, because I'm still focused on education and, family and trying to, just get something better for my family. So I don't have any regrets about anything, I went to high school or how I was raised. My parents did a fabulous job of, keeping me grounded, but letting me understand, our world and our differences, but staying focused on how to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, I had a lot of brothers, a lot of older siblings too, that were able to say, hey man, here's some mistakes I made, as well, that you shouldn't do. So here we are today, and I'm happy. I got a great family. Been married to my wife Consuelo for 27 years. I got a 26-year-old son and a 20-year-old daughter.
Good for you.
We're happy. We're very happy.
Good for you. The play against Miami, the play against T.O. I mean, you won a national championship, All-American, all the things you did. I mean, just big-time moments in football.
And I'm sure George probably, I would assume, George, you get this a lot, but the American flag a couple weeks after 9/11 running out into the field is another iconic image as well, that I'm sure people bring up quite a bit.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites personally. And that's more of a military deal for me and patriotic deal because my dad served in the Air Force for over 25 years. Like I said, so I grew up on military bases, and it was just part of our life, all the way through, even at post high school. I mean, my dad still served. My brother served in the Army for 20 years. So I was pretty close to, what patriotism is and stuff of that nature. So when the opportunity came up, or when the tragedy happened with 9/11, and the world was in shambles on how we're going to try to overcome this, and there was an opportunity for me to make a statement. I didn't want to miss it, really, because of my family, first and foremost, because I was so close to it, with the way my dad represented and my brother represented the country as well.
So how difficult is it now when we have this tug of war with what Drew Brees said and then had to come back and apologize, and where we are with the flag? I'm a military brat. My father was U.S. Naval Academy. Then he was on Air Force bases in Guam and Japan, the Pentagon, places like that. It's like someone asked me, like, what will I do when the next time there's the national anthem, when I can't think of anything other than standing, because that's the way I grew up. How do we get through this time, George?
I think, people's voices need to be heard. I'm in full support of that, and I understand what it means to protest and have concerns, for our race and things of that nature. Now, I know you didn't ask me directly, but I would be the same way. If we're, when we go into our first football game, George Teague will be standing during the national anthem. All of my players may not, but I will be. And the way that I think we're going to get through this is truly, and it sounds so cliche, but there are a lot of people with a lot of different opinions. And I think what we're losing in our society today is people don't want to hear the other side. We can't agree to disagree. We can't, if you're not like me, then you're bad, you're evil. If you don't think like me, you're bad, you're evil, or whatever it is. There's too much of that and not enough of just trying to understand and hear what people are trying to say, and trying to put a different lens on for a second, at least, just to see if you can kind of understand. And it's no different than, when we have I shouldn't say no different, because it can't be compared like that. But when we have arguments or discussions around our dinner table with our families or other people, A lot of times we're not going to agree, and that's okay. That don't mean we got to hate each other, and that's what we are now. That, you know, I look at the flag one way, someone else will look at the flag a different way, and that's okay. It really is. We don't need to be at each other's throat about that. I might not like it. I can tell them that. They can tell me the other thing, but in the end, we need to respect each other and love each other and understand that that's part of our country, is being able to have different views, different opinions. You know, that's why there's so many different schools, and why there's different churches, and, you know, our religions are different. And I can't imagine, you know, what's going to happen when everybody has to be the same religion either. Or also, you know, we can't. It's not what we are as a country. So we just got to have some empathy, some sympathy, some love, some. Just really need to be able to hear people. And even when people are trying to listen to us, I probably need to say this too, that even when we, African Americans, when black people are trying to say something, yes, we need white people to hear us, but we also need to hear in the other direction as well, that we need to hear what white people are saying as well. And again, we might not agree, we might not disagree, or we might disagree, but we got to listen to each other, talk, and then, you know, just try to be better.
George, thank you so much.
Man, we'd be so much better off if everybody had George's mentality.
Yeah, if we all would just listen to each other and learn from it, doesn't mean we'll agree, but at least listen, but not do it in a vicious way, either way, and finger pointing, but just absolutely understand people are different. Thanks for your time so much. I really do appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. That's George Teague. What an interview. What a segment, and what an insight from a man who lived in Montgomery, Alabama, went to high school there.
Well, he was he moved around a little bit, being was an Air Force brat, but I will say this: if I'm a parent who's got a football player that's playing under George Teague, I feel really great. You know, not only is he going to learn football, but I feel like he's going to learn some life lessons and just, you know, have a great person leading the charge, you know, and molding these young men. And I liked a lot of what he had to say, and tremendous conversation. That was a lot of fun and kind of touched on pretty much everything.
When we come back, that was fun. That was interesting and also very insightful. When we come back, former Cowboys defensive back, and there's a push for Cornell Green to be a part of the Cowboys Ring of Honor. Will it ever get to that point? He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace. I've been able, is that right, Paul? Waco Custom Marketplace.
No, that's the next one.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. They both start with the word, as if I have to say it, that's where we are broadcasting from. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. So earlier today, I went to my Thursday workout. It normally is a spin class that Alex teaches. And so I did the class, and then after I got up, and the bikes are out back right now because everyone's trying to be smart with what the groupings and whatever. And there's like 8 or 12 people in the class. So I finished the class, and I'm just absolutely dripping with sweat because we're outdoors, even though there was a pretty nice breeze today. And then after the class, I said, man, you know what? Behind this building, which is the building which has the gym and the offices and much more, behind this building is nothing but energy. So I got off the bike, wiped it down, put it back where it needed to be, up against the back wall, and I walked around the main center court, which is a spectacular place. And there was an adult women's class being taught by Joe Rosa. Off to the side, there were 2 young men that play with Baylor that were going at it at a high, elite level of tennis. I mean, wow. And then the court over from that, Shelly's teaching Kid Fit. Younger people who are having a chance to get out and get a fresh air. Some had masks on, and some were running, and some were just having fun. And then I walked towards the back, and there's Britt Coleman, the pro, another pro with Joe Rosa, and he's teaching youth tennis. Ankle biters to teenagers. And then there was another court with a bunch of older women that were just playing tennis.
And that's going on just this morning. It's that way all of the time. I talk a lot about the fitness part of it, how it's affected my life, how it can affect your life. But my goodness, there's a lot going on. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion. And I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday, pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on Sikkim365.com.
Former Cowboys great Cornell Green with us on Sikkim 365 Radio, and Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoke. Cornell, there was an article, podcast earlier this week with Rick Gosselin, who's a Hall of Fame writer, covered the Cowboys forever, and he's a Hall of Fame voter as well. But he also was trying to say, listen, the Cowboys Ring of Honor is fantastic, but it's missing names, and one of them is Cornell Green. Your thoughts about the Ring of Honor, and have you thought much about it?
Well, I've thought about it, but I've been told I don't dwell on it, for any period of time because, it's up for them to choose, not for me to wait and try to campaign or run like I'm running for office or something and trying to get in that way.
Has anyone with the Cowboys organization the last time you spoke with anybody in the organization?
No, it's been a while. It's been really a long time, yeah.
By the way, Brad Sham, the great Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys, who you know, he's told me to tell you hello and hope you're doing well, and he wanted me to pass that along to you as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Cornell, your defenses were so fantastic in that era of the Cowboys. What was it about that flex defense that made it so impossible for people to really crack the code?
Well, I really think it was just the players that we had at the time, that everybody there knew what everybody else was doing at all times. You knew where you were supposed to go. Mel Renfro could play the position I was playing very easily. Anybody else like we had there, like Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters and those guys, they could play it very easily. Anybody you put in there could play it easily.
And was it all about everybody doing what they specifically were asked to do in the defense and not get out of position? Is that also one of the keys to that defense?
Yeah, that was the key, that everybody else knew everybody else's position. We could have a meeting, and you could get a guy like Mel Renfro, and he could sit there and tell you what Jethro Pugh is supposed to do. Now, he might not be able to do it, but he can tell you what he should do.
Yeah, no, he's not going to play defensive tackle, but he knows what the defensive tackle is supposed to do. With Tom Landry, to be able to have that, he was your head coach. Obviously, Tex Schramm was huge, and Clint Murkison, and then, of course, Gil Brandt, we'll talk about him. But to have Tom Landry as your coach when you came in the mid-'60s, what was that like to be a part of?
Well, it was, I'm probably the wrong guy to answer, because what was I like in the 1960s? I didn't know anything, but anytime you could take a person who wasn't a football player and teach him how to play football mentally and physically, is a hell of a coach, I think. I mean, because I was a project.
You were one of those Gil Brandt finds, not a football player who came in and became a great football player at a Utah State. What was it about the opportunity to come and play football that, after not doing it, made you say, "Yeah, I'll go ahead and do this"?
Well, you just look at everything, and I was thinking, well, where am I going to make this much money in a 2-week summer job? Might as well go to training camp if you want to pay me. Because I figured I'd be cut in a week or two.
Mm-hmm. Did you think you were going to make it through? Did you really, when you went to camp, did you have any idea that you would have the kind of success you had? Not only just
I didn't think I had a snowball chance. But as time went on and things like that, I began to, guys, the rookies they had wasn't a hell of a lot better than I was. So I figured I got a chance to make the club. And after about the 4th or 5th preseason game, once I started almost all the preseason. And by the 4th or 5th preseason game, I figured, hey, I got a chance of making this thing.
Do you think your athleticism, first of all, you had to be smart to play the game as well, especially with what you had to deal with going from a basketball player to playing in the NFL. But was it your athleticism that allowed you to overcome maybe not knowing things initially?
Yes, I think that was my strongest point was my size and my strength. Because, most of the tackles, cornerbacks they had up in was 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", like that. And I'm 6'4".
Yep. 6'4", 210 pounds, too, yeah.
Yeah, and I can move just as good as they could. I could pedal, I can come out, I can break, I'm athletic, so why not?
What was your hoops game like?
I averaged 20 a game. All-American.
Yeah, All-American at Utah State, and obviously you thought you were going to go play in the ABA? Is that what when?
No, it was in the NBA.
The NBA, okay.
But I thought I was going to go play with. I was going to go with the Chicago Bulls. I was drafted by Chicago.
You were a part, as Paul mentioned, with Gil Brandt and the Cowboys. They found, for example, Bob Hayes, who was a track star and turned out to be a Hall of Fame football player. Percy Howard, a guy that ended up being caught a touchdown in a Super Bowl, was somebody else that ended up being kind of a project, so to speak, among others that were a part of that time period. Was there a certain bond, Cornell, that you and others that were
more athletes than just football players coming out of college? Did you guys have kind of a certain bond? Did you ever talk about that much?
No, I couldn't get a bond at all. Everybody else you was there to compete, and you did compete and go as far as you could. Like Bob Hayes, people love Bob Hayes played football.
Yeah.
In college, he was there on a football scholarship. He was just fast. And so, you can't put Bob Hayes in with the Percy Howards and all those guys. You don't think you can put him in there. But you could, because he was a track star. He was an Olympic champ. He just was a good football player also.
Cornell Green was a 2-time All-American. Utah State went to the NIT and the NCAA tournaments in a 3-year college career. Undrafted, Cowboys picked him up, turned out to be one of their best defensive backs and players ever. Paul, anything? What you had for Cornell?
Yeah, your brother was Pumpsy Green, who was the first African American to play for the Red Sox, which was the last team to integrate. What did you learn from him about being a professional athlete, especially going through what I'm sure was really tough for him to go through early on in Boston? Not even early on, but probably his whole career in Boston.
Well, my brother thought, well, what the hell am I thinking I'm doing? In the first place, he didn't think I had a chance like everybody else. And but outside of that, he never gave me any advice of what I need to do or what I have to do or what I have to concentrate on or hustle and do. He never gave me any advice because baseball and football is an entire game.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever try to? Were you a baseball player at any time?
No.
Okay. By the way, Pumpsy Green, who passed away about a year ago. It's unfortunate. He was 85 years old. He broke the color barrier for the Boston Red Sox.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it did. Yeah. That was a long time ago, but I never saw him play. I never saw him play in the majors. I never, because when he came to play San Francisco or Oakland things, I was in college at the time, and I was in school. But I never actually saw him play a live baseball game.
Yeah, plus,
as a pro.
Yeah, games now everyone gets to see. Well, there's no games going on right now. What has this been like for you these last 3 months or so with COVID and all? Everyone, I know that you're trying to stay safe and healthy. What's it been like right now?
Me, I never really gave it a whole lot of thought. People remind me of it more than I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm 80 years old now, and who knows what's going to come and what's going to happen, and who knows how long I got here.
Yeah.
So, but I don't sit around and harp on it or worry about it.
The teams that you joined, the Cowboys had to get better. They had those classic games with the Packers and Vince Lombardi and all those memorable games that the Packers always seem to win. How much did it take for the Cowboys of those mid-'60s to have some heartbreaking losses, Cornell, and yet keep knocking on the door to eventually knock it down?
I think that's just because of the attitude that Tom Landry instilled in us. That it wasn't so much of our lack of hustle. It was us playing the type of defense and the type of offense that he wanted us to play. And as long as you do that, and as long as you trust in the offense and you trust in the defense, you're going to win. Eventually, you're going to win.
You mentioned earlier that everybody kind of knew their role. Mel Renfro knew yours and vice versa, or Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters, or even Jethro Pugh or Bob Lilly. You ended up being a safety as well. You went to play that position as well. Was that an easy transition for you?
Yeah, for me it was because, my speed wise and size wise as a corner, as a rookie in my first 9-10 years as a corner, it was adequate. But as a safety, it was very good because none of the tight ends could beat me. After covering years, safety was like covering a tight end for 10 years. When they moved me to safety, it was just like getting a day off.
Well, plus at 6'3", 208 pounds or whatever you were when you played over Jets, that's a big corner today. So the tight end position was no big deal for you as far as that's concerned as well. What would it mean, Cornell, if you ever did get the call or if you ever heard from the Cowboys and they said they wanted to induct you into the Ring of Honor. I know you say you haven't thought much about it. You don't harp on it, don't think about it much. But what would that mean to you, in your opinion?
It would mean everything to me, but I would be just like anybody else. I think it'll be an honor. You know, I'm not going to turn it down or anything like that, or harp on the Cowboys or talk bad about the Cowboys, because, you know, it's up to them to choose who they think. But I think I do belong there.
Mm-hmm.
But just nothing I'm going to go around and beat my chest, stick my chest out and beat on my chest to try to get into.
Does it hurt a little bit, though, that you're not a part of that?
Yeah, some. I think about it, but I don't dwell on it.
Right.
You know, yeah, but I think about it every now and then. But it's nothing I sit around and say I'm going to go up and campaign for.
Right. Gil Brandt has told us many stories, not only just about you, but many others, and how he's found players in so many different places. He was also a hard guy to bargain with because of contracts back in the day. What are your thoughts about the Hall of Famer in Gil Brandt?
I think he deserved it, as much as anybody else, because Gil Brandt, a lot of things that came in on the National Football League, especially scouting in that department, came through Gil Brandt. And it's awesome how he should choose, because I don't think Gil Brandt ever hit a down in football in his life.
And your signing bonus was $1,000, right? Right off the bat?
Yeah.
Not a bad go for you, what you thought was going to be two weeks or so.
You know, I know, but my problem was, that's where I look at it. But my problem was $1,000 just the same. I don't have to go play. I don't do nothing.
Yeah.
So who's not? You're in college. You a college kid too?
Yeah.
Who's not going to take that deal?
Yeah. Here's $1,000 for you to come put on some football pads, and you may not make the team, and you might be gone in a day or two, but here's $1,000. I don't know if anybody's going to say no to that, right?
Hey, I went there without eating cut. How long was going to take? Come on. Boy, they took their time about cutting me.
Yeah. Did you ever go to sleep at night at training camp where you thought the next day you might get cut?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Every night I went to sleep. But I wasn't worried about it. If people, I walk around with this smile on my face and all that, and the other rookies think about, what you laughing at? What's so funny?
Yeah.
I was nothing. I just went about nothing. Because I just figured out how are they going to stop that I don't know a damn thing about this game.
And then if you think about it, that you learned a game from scratch, from the start, and your athleticism, you had to be, again, I mentioned this, you had to be incredibly smart. How would you describe yourself? If somebody said, describe Cornell Green and what you've been through, how would you describe that?
Well, as a person or as a football player?
Both.
Well, as a person, I like to say I was one of the greatest people you ever going to meet in your life. But as a football player, I was lost. I went there, after I would say about a week or two, I started thinking I could make this team because they had me starting. And so I began to learn the game then. I began to think about it. What should I do? And I began to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
You ask questions. You had, Don Bishop and Cliff Livingston and all those guys were there. Being the older guys, and I started asking questions and copying what they do and how they warmed up and everything else. And I kept improving. And the first I remember my first start in preseason was against Green Bay Packers and Boyd Dowler, and that was my first start. And nobody said I wasn't a starter. And so I just went with that attitude. But I'm gonna play hard as I can, as long as I can, if somebody tell me I can't.
And
that's what I did.
And there you are. You ended up playing all those years with the Cowboys, 13 years with one team. Back then there was no free agency. When I bring up Randy and Ronnie, your sons, what do you think about?
Heck of a kids. Did a good job. No trouble growing up, no carryover or anything like that.
That right there alone is a victory, right?
Yep.
Yep.
If you could. live that long and get out of it. You gotta, you know, improve your.
The Cowboys have not been, well, they've been good. They've had some teams that have kind of teased the Cowboys fan base the last 25 years, but they haven't played for a championship in the conference or the Super Bowl since 1995. I don't know how often you get to watch them, but what do you see and why do you think it's been so long since they were elite like you were when you played for the Cowboys or the teams in the 90s?
Well, I like to probably thinking too much about the teams in the 90s and earlier teams we had with the Lilies and all those guys. I like to think that, you know, that's offensively we were great. We were good. Defensively we were great. And I think that's what's the main ingredient, the main thing difference between the two of us is that their defense they got now doesn't come up to the type of defense we had with the Bob Lillies and the Leroy Jordans and those guys, Chuck Howley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have some real great football players.
And Cornell Green.
Oh, and also Cornell Green.
Absolutely. Cornell, it's been great talking with you. Stay safe. Absolutely fun to live and look back, reminisce about how you went from basketball to being what I think is someone who should be in the Ring of Honor, even a Hall of Fame type nominee with what you've done. 5-time Pro Bowl, 4 times All-Pro, won a Super Bowl, Cowboys' 25th anniversary team, made the All-Rookie. I mean, you did it all.
Yep.
And you also raised 2 good boys.
I had a good career.
And a good life.
Yeah.
Cornell, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time, and God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Cornell Green, former Cowboys great, war number 34. And this is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Summertime means vacation time, and when you hit the road, do it in the vehicle of summer, Jeep. At Allen Samuels, it's our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Get employee pricing on brand new 2020 Jeep Gladiator Sport Editions, plus an additional $1,500 in retail bonus cash. And ask about 0% and no payments for 90 days on other Jeep models. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Thanks to a lot of people behind the scenes that sometimes you don't hear from, but we always want to remember that they make us sound and look pretty good. Deontay Epps at D. Epps Right Steps on Twitter. Dylan Chapman, we haven't seen him in a while. He's got baseball tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, he's coaching a lot of baseball.
Amelia Bedelia.
Amelia Myers, yes.
Amelia Myers with a lot of the graphics. Colt Barber with the graphics, plus what he's always doing behind the scenes, plus Brian Etheridge and Ashley Hodge, Grayson, Jason. That rhymes.
By the way, speaking of the graphic today, I was very proud of our teamwork today. Deontay texted me and said, hey, I've got an idea. I don't want to overstep my bounds. I said, no, we're a team here. Share an idea. And they came up with a pretty good graphic between the two of them. So,
yeah, I think it looks good. I think it definitely could be our thing going forward. And, yes, definitely shout out to Amelia and Deontay and our resident Twitch star, Dylan, as well.
Twitch.
Still no word on Dr. Disrespect, by the way. It's driving me insane. Still no word.
Because I know there's some streamer, people that when Microsoft got rid of their deal, Ninja was out of a job or whatever. I'm sure he's not hurting, but
no, he's streaming. He's kind of weighing his options now. Apparently, see, I've gotten to know about this stuff simply through Dr. Disrespect. And if you wonder, how could you sit there and watch people play video games? It's not something I do regularly, but if you watch his montages that are put together, you'll understand why. It's highly entertaining and why it's not just simply watching people play video games. But yeah, his eerie suspension's been going on for 2.5 weeks now with basically zero word. Yeah, Ninja was a part of Mixer along with Shroud, and that went out of business pretty quick. But the good news for those guys, their contracts were apparently guaranteed. So they worked for about 8 months for this company that goes out of business and made probably $10 million.
Oh, nice.
And now they get to go be basically free agents again, which is crazy. What an industry.
The 928 on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line may be as busy day as we've ever had. George T. made my day. Thanks, guys. TJ, it's fantastic to be in the DFW area, still to be able to listen to the show. TJ, as always, thank you very much.
Clear as a bell.
Yeah, and when we launched, the app was a very important piece of the puzzle. And I've seen people, as other radio people have gone on to do more of the online thing. It's a habit more than anything, just to turn on your radio dial. But with the technology we have now, you don't miss the show when you get out of your car. You don't have to. At least you can listen through your AirPods anywhere you are, and so that's why I think the availability we have here is so great. And
we should do some video tutorials on how to keep. Maybe that's a project for Amelia. We'll do some video tutorials on how you can 24 hours a day listen to us, no matter where you're sitting in your home or whatever. I think it'd be kind of funny, don't you think?
Yeah, no, it'd be great. And the response on Twitter today, among others, our guest lineup today, going backwards, thanks to Cornell Green. In fact, Cornell Green's son, Randy, he's got two sons. Randy just texted Frank Hart. Craig, Frank, the great Frank Hart on Sikkim 365. He said, man, that was fantastic. And he listened to his father, and he wants a copy. We'll send that to you immediately. It's also up on our Twitter timelines and our podcast, Sikkim365.com. Also, thanks to George Teague, who I think maybe opened a lot of people's eyes today. At least we hope he did. Also today, thanks to Kirk Mull, head coach at Lexington High School, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, Max Olson, TheAthletic.com, and also Hall of Fame defensive end Jack Youngblood. Tomorrow, it appears as if we'll have former Baylor receiver Clay Fuller. We'll have Alvin Brooks and John Jacobs of the Baylor men's basketball program on their organization about coaches and how they're trying to inform and have a better campus atmosphere. Also, I just got to